start streaming. Let's just make sure this is all starting up. Let me turn everything on here. Okay. We're streaming. We're live.
We're live?
Yeah.
Darn it. Post it in power rankings.
What?
You said you're live, right? We're live on YouTube, right?
Yeah, on YouTube. Yeah, here. I can send you the link.
Yeah.
Let me open the commisioner. Just give everything a second to load here. Okay. Content. Am I live? Yep. Okay. Here we go. Get shareable link. All right. I'm gonna send it in the mod chat. Or you know what? Is there like a thing?
You can send it to me. I'll post it in the power rankings channel.
In the power rankings channel. Okay. At Lucid Div. Why is that going away? Can I not add the Lucid division from here?
Yeah, you can add Lucid.
Alright, here. I'm just gonna put the link in. Yep. Yep, okay, that link works.
Alright, great. So we're live.
We are live. Alright. Now that it's all set up, hello everyone. So what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna do this in pool order and hopefully rank them all. I currently just have S, A, B, C, D. If you want to open, yeah, that should be fine. And we're gonna rank every team. I doubt we'll see any D tiers. They'll probably mostly just be like this SAB area. But yeah, we're gonna go through every pool by pool, and then we'll get everything in. So currently we have pool A, and we're probably just gonna go in order. So the first team that we have here is the Miami Palafins. So it's gonna be this team over here. So this team consists of Chien Pal, Deoxys Speed, Quaquavel, Skarmory, Clodsire, Lycanroc Dusk, Hisuian Electrode, which can Terra, Alcremie, which can Terra, and Houndstone. And the way that this league works, by the way, guys, so it's open Terra as long as that character is selected as a captain. So yeah, so this Electrode and this Alcremie can Terra into anything. Opponents will get to see the Terra prior to the battle. And yeah, we're going to be redrafting every couple of weeks, which is why it's a circuit 1. So for each individual circuit, there will be a new team. So we'll do this 3 times throughout the season. I will be streaming the matches, and including my own. And yeah, so going on from there, what do we want to say about myself here? Or not myself, the battler's name myself. It's not actually myself. The Miami Palafins here.
Alright.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up? I'm Kingston, tuning in from PDL and the commissioner. And right here we have Cuz, one of my good mods. Let's go through myself's team. He has Chien Pao, Deoxys Speed, Quaquaval, Skarm, Claude, Luke, Lycanroc Dust, Electrotisserie, Alcremie, and Houndstone. Personally, where I'd put this, I kind of like this team because it has Chien Pao and Quaquaval, two of my favorite mons. And as we were talking, we were saying these are mons that can just snowball. They can win matches off the bat just by accident, right? They accidentally SD up Quaquaval, Aquaset, and just takes out an entire team. But not personally, but objectively looking at all the rosters, I would say this is probably the third to fourth best team. Generally, I think it has a lot of speed gaps. That's my biggest issue with it. It has only one removal option. So if Quickleval goes down, there's no way to remove hazards. As well as Quickleval prefers Aqua Step over Rapid Spin, which is a big thing. Skarm not having defog is a big nerf for this team, especially with Houndstone. You want to keep it alive as long as you can because it's his physical defensive
Yeah,
wall.
the one thing I will say is that this team can use boots. So, like, you can run boots on Electrode if you want. But, I mean, you don't want to run boots too much because you do have a lot of speed, but there are going to be faster teams, as we'll see later.
Yeah, and that's the thing. He picked lower tier captains, which is very interesting. Where almost every Pokemon on the draft board can carry. He picked two low tier captains, and that means their power level rather isn't quite like a Terra Bundle or Terra Blaziken, right? They're not quite there yet. So having them to be forced into boots where it could be, let's say, choice specs for teams that have very bad ground types, or it could be a life orb volt switch set, right? I think it limits it a lot. So running boots, it's fine, but I think it's very limited in what it can do if it has boots.
Yeah, I will say at least, sometimes you'll see with a lot of teams, like if you really, the teams that really want hazard removal are the teams that are going to have these mons that are either like item restricted or mons that
Yeah.
like to run booster. This team doesn't have any of that, so the team is pretty flexible with items. The thing is, you have a couple mons that are on your team that are like pretty key, that are weak to it. I mean, specifically Chien Pao, right? Chien Pao is going to have to run boots every week if you're not running spin on Quavel or you anticipate the opponent bringing rocks at all, because it's taking 25% on every switch in. So that's definitely a big weakness when it comes to running Chien Pao, which is obviously your strongest and scariest mon, especially in terms of sweeping. Though Quavel's always there too. And that's the thing, like Quavel could low-key sweep off a rapid spin. It could get that +1 speed, kill whatever comes in, and then it's game over.
But
So
it's sacrificing rapid spin, sacrificing aqua step for rapid spin. Like
yeah,
you never run both on the same what's it called move set. It's
yeah,
very difficult to pull off both because aqua step is very low base power as compared to moves like wave crush that it has, right?
yeah.
And losing the stab and bringing a move that ghosts are immune to, it's gonna be very hard. As I said, if you had multiple spin options to support Quick Evolve, so it doesn't have to force itself to run rapid spin almost every week, I think it would be much better. And fixing the speed gap as well, because his speed drops from base 110 straight to base 85, which is Lycan Rock to Quick Evolve. I think if
Yeah.
he had something between there to fix the gap, because everything at like base 100 um, uh, to 109 is gonna exploit that speed gap.
Yeah, and the unfortunate thing here, because we are talking about this being, our different circuits, because of the way that this works, there are no transactions. So, we're giving a bunch of recommendations on how to potentially fix the team. This is their team permanently. So, this is what we're going to be seeing for the 4 weeks that this team is in effect. The one other thing I will state, though, potentially in favor of the team is that I have seen like defensive Quavel sweep too. So defensive Quavel is something that can be brought. And if we want to talk about covering for ghosts, Quavel does get knockoff nowadays, which is not always like my favorite thing for a turn. I'm pretty sure it's actually the only knockoff user on this team, so it can threaten ghosts.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's locked into 4 move slot syndrome because you have to. If you're bringing rapid spin, you have to bring knockoff, and that's 2 of your move slots gone.
Yeah, like if I was to do it, my set would probably be something along the lines of like CC rapid spin knockoff flip turn, just so that you have a water option and it's your pivot move.
And then you want recovery as well. 'cause
Yeah, you
if
can
you're
bring recovery. It does get roost, right? Quavel gets roost?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that's
I'm
cool
pretty sure
too.
it's
So I mean, Quavel's versatile. You could run Quavel in so many different ways. It could be offensive for certain teams. It could be defensive for certain teams with spin.
It's one
Like,
of my favorite
yeah.
ones. I haven't used it in a while, but I don't think it's the best spinner because you want this
Nah.
one to be a roller coaster, man. You don't want to be running defensive and base 85 HP, 80 defense, and 75 speed. isn't the best, right?
Yeah, I'd rather
And you
draft. Yeah, no, I wouldn't draft Quavel for a specific role. I'd want to draft it for its versatility, and I just feel like this team kind of forces it to run spin a little bit, which isn't my
yeah,
favorite.
and if you run like spin recover, you have two moves there, like roost and because you want to keep your spinner alive, and that's something. And then if it spin, it wants to run boots, right? So you
Yeah,
can't even run
probably.
a resistance to help its def or an assault vest, right? But
Mhm.
like looking at it, let's see how they pull off their team. Me personally, I think it should be B tier compared to all the other teams.
I can agree with that.
But
I can go B tier with it. That is the
yeah,
Miami Pelicans, so we'll put that in B tier for now. I will say also, the main sometimes that did not click that. No. The main thing that you can see is a problem on the occasion with a lot of teams that rely on spin is sometimes they won't get a grounded poison as well. But no, we do
yeah.
see Claude Sire here, so they at least have a really strong grounded poison option to remove T Spike.
Yeah, I do like his defensive core. Really, it's basically Houndstone and Clodsire.
Yeah, that you
Those
have your
are the
Fizz wall, you have your Spidef wall, and
yeah.
then Skarmory's also Fizz. The defense is actually really good. I like the defense offense here.
His biggest offensive threats are Chien Pao, Quakervolt, and Lycanroc, which are all physical mons. When you look at the other teams who have good physical answers, some of them can Terra. I don't think he's gonna be breaking that much. Like what on his team except for Electrode is that special offensive mon or that
Yeah,
special
I mean,
sub
and the thing is with Electro, we're calling it especially offensive. I think its special attack's like 80. Like it's not,
exactly. So that's what I'm saying. If you run boots on it, it's
it's not that strong. Yeah, and Dio Speed's the same deal. So
yeah.
there really isn't even as you could run Alcremie, I guess, but that thing can get stuck and it's not really pivot heavy. So.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there's definitely physical walls are definitely a good answer to this team, and overwhelming it with hazards can be annoying just because Quable can kind of get stuck. But
I just only
I
like the
def
fact that
yeah.
he has Claude that can kind of help him because once Claude toxic something, it can just sit on it and watch it
Yeah,
die.
but no, you do have Claude Sire and Houndstone, which are definitely going to be able to whittle down even a good tank. And eventually, tanks can only do so much versus a Quaquavel that's +3 or a Chien Pao after a Sword Stance because of Sword of Ruin. Like, it's still going to be doing a lot of damage in
You're
the
even
end.
ignoring his own hazard because he has all hazards except for what he
Yeah,
has Spike, Rock, Scarm. And we even forgot about Scarm being a great defensive, physical defensive mon.
yeah, that I meant. Yeah, no, Skarmory's definitely really good physically defensive and can recover. Like, this team is definitely going to stay healthy.
Yeah,
It's
I
just a
think
matter of can they break the opponent before their
exactly.
tanks start feeling the pain. Like, that's really what it's going to come down to.
Their games are gonna be pretty long, and if he rushes the game, he's gonna mess up his game plan because Chimpo is gonna be gone. Chimpo is very frail, so if
Yeah,
you make a bad switch and your biggest offensive threat is gone, it's kind of gonna be tough for you to win that game, especially like with teams that have Golden Gore, Garga, are immune to getting toxic, right?
yeah.
But I kind of see the vision with the team. I just think if he had a Hatterene, it would have been better. I think Hat would have made his team like 10 times better because he gets another way of deterring hazards and it's a very good breaker. He has a base 133 special attack.
Yeah, I mean, that would have helped out a lot. I'm doing a calc here real
Personally, I
quick.
think Hat over Dio Speed would have made his team like 10 times better. Plus, he
I
gets a
think, yeah, I
better.
just think Dio Speed is such a tempting option, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, when it can like nasty plot or calm mind or run power herb meter beam, the mon is a threat. We can't say it's not a threat. However, it needs that setup to do damage in the first place. So seeing not focus that's because it has decent bulk. I've seen the speed live hits that I don't think it should have. So running calm mind, tanking a special hit, and then just running into a team, right? It could even be weakness policy because it can run sets like that. Max HP, max speed, weakness policy, deal speed, and just
Yeah.
6-0.
I just did a calc, by the way. So like one of the main premier defensive mons we'll talk about in a bit is going to be that Terra Garganackle. If Chien Pao sets up to +2 with Sword Stance, it has a 50% chance of OHKOing with Stealth Rocks and 3 layers of spikes. If the Garganackle's max HP, max defense plus. So defensive walls only work for so long.
Yeah, that's the point. That's why he has really good hazard setters. But if they have hazards on his side as well, once they get like a knockoff in, Like hazards plus knockoff into this team are very good.
Yes, and I think hazards plus knockoff into the opponent would be good if there was one more than one knockoff mon, but unfortunately that's going
Exactly.
to be stuck with Quavel.
If he didn't only have Quavo as a knockoff man, I think Hazard's. But that's the thing. If he had the Magic Bounce man, he didn't really have to worry much about the hazards like that.
Yes.
I just really think Hatterin would have fit this team well. Plus, Hatterin is pretty slow, so he can run that trick room sets and pull off like offensive hound stones. Um, and he doesn't really have much slow offensive options, in my opinion. And in a meta game where you have teams that have Bundle Sneezer, Boulder, um, Darkrai, his speed is basically matched, right?
Yeah.
Or even they're gonna be ones that are faster because Unburdened Sneeze are faster in the speed, booster, Surge Surf, right, so and so forth. That's another team for later on.
Yeah.
But I do think they will have their fair share.
Yeah.
Oh,
No.
it's knock.
Yeah. What gets
Yeah,
knocked?
the Octus speed.
Oh,
But
Deoxys speed does. Okay. That's good because I
yeah,
was gonna
but
say like if Quable's your only spitter and knockoff user, then again it's like you don't want Quable to be your only option for something. You want Quable to be able to do multiple things, but if it has to
exactly.
run certain things, then it's a lot weaker. All right,
Yeah,
so
so
I think we got the hang of that team. We have a lot of teams to go through, so I don't think we want to spend a
yeah,
ridiculous amount of
looking
time
forward
on every team here.
yeah.
So
We
we'll
have
go.
us
Yeah,
team, the Black Tauruses.
yeah, we'll go with.
Uh,
So this team is really strong in my opinion. I think
I
so.
This is the best team in this
In this
pool.
pool, I could go with that. Did-
It's arguably the best team, and I don't want to sound anyway, but I think this team is a very good offensive team, right? And it's a very good blend of fast and slow offense. When, as I said, when you compare to the other teams around, he has the best slower offensive mons, and he can pull that up because he has multiple trick room setters. He has three trick room setters. Um, Valiant, I believe Valiant gets Trick Room. Don't quote me on that. But I know Toad School and Slowbro Galar gets Trick Room. And looking at teams with Speed Boost Blaziken, Booster Bundle, and so on, Blaster can just come in. Oh shoot, it's not Terra. I love Blaster. I'm very biased, and I think if he had Terra on it over Slowbro, it would have been a way different issue because both being Blaster, Terra Electric, Terra Ice runs through every team on in this pool.
By the way, I did just check. Valiant does get Trick Room.
Yeah, and he has Samurai Asui Golden Go, which is a very good period, right? Setting up those spikes and doing damage at the same time while preventing any defog or spin. I love that combo. And then he has Garg. You know, Garg is always a threat to Nick Kentera.
I remember when I back in the day I had a team, or back when we were thinking about banning Walking Wake, I ran a
Yeah.
Garganackle team and I got so high in the ladder and I called it Salt Solo's son, and I was like, dude, Garg's the real threat, and obviously that didn't wind up being the case. Because there was talks about banning Garg at the time, but I remember everyone was worried about Walking Wake sweeps, and I like destroyed every Sun team on the ladder with Garg. Like,
Before the
it's so
DLC,
strong.
Garg was on the verge of being banned because Salt Cure, Terra Fairy, Terra Water, Terra Poison. What can you do to it? Because
Yeah, it
Salt-
wasn't even the Salt Cure version too. Like I was running the IDEF body press set, and even
Yeah.
that was just winning games outright.
the Iron Defense Body Press recover sets. Like, what is gonna stop it? Right?
It's so
It's not-
strong, and you know the thing is with this team is that it's really fast. Obviously with Iron Valiant, if you want it
Yeah.
to be, but it's also kind of you can run lower speeds with like a slower Golden Go or
I
Glow
like
Bro.
the speed to it.
I really
He
like
has
the
more-
other thing too is we're talking about if this team, I think outside of Iron Valiant, it does get a little slower, you could say that, but the thing is you have Prankster Thunderous that can just Prankster T-Wave everything, and then your mons become faster. So this team's speed control is really good too, as it's able to lower the opponent's speed relatively easily. You have like T-Wave Golden Go, T-Wave Thunderous, and you have speed options, or like middling options.
And Trick Room is also
Like
a
prevalent.
speed
Yeah.
option as well. Right? So I do love his speed tiers actually. I wish he had something base 120 or a little higher.
Yeah, I do wish that there was like, cause hold on, it's like it's Valiant to Thunderous is like one whatever to 111 I think Thunderous is.
116 to 111, then 111 to 100, and then 100 to 85, which is like perfect, exact,
Yeah.
and then 85 to 84. He does have a gap between 84 and then his slower mons like Garganako. Cause well, let me check Toad's
That's
score. Is
not the
Toad's score?
worst thing in the world.
It's not the worst thing in the world because every team I'm seeing here has very fast, is very fast offensive mons. Almost all the offensive mons are base 80 and higher. So sorry, base 85 and higher. So he doesn't really have to worry about that speed gap. It's just something I noticed.
Yeah. No, I think the speed gap's fine. I honestly, this team, if we were to say it had a weakness. Okay, so it doesn't have hazard removal, I guess is the one thing you could say. And this is kind of what I was talking about earlier. It doesn't necessarily. Oh, wait, you know what? Does Toad's Cruel get spin?
It does get rapid swing, but it's
I'm not
so
breaking that as a
gonna
spinner.
get one spin. You're gonna only get one spin ever.
Yeah, it's not worth it. The one thing I will say is I talked about hazards earlier. Valiant's gonna want to run booster, so that's gonna be one of those mons where it's like if you can't get rid of hazards, you're stuck a little bit, which
And
can
that's the thing.
suck.
That's why I don't see why he wanted to Terra Globro. I think he should have kept Globro without the option to Terra because if his opponent forces the Terra and Globro, they just set up T spikes and basically win.
That's true. Like T Spikes is gonna be good versus this team. Stealth Rocks, Glacier can't Terra, so it's stuck as an ice
Yeah.
type, and it's eventually
And
gonna whittle down. Spikes is gonna be really good versus this team because if Golden Go's not carrying Air Balloon, Gold's getting hit by it, Samu's getting hit by it, Val is not really being able to avoid it because you can't really
And the
run
only-
heavy duty boots on these two mons here. So that's a
the thing,
weakness.
Valiant doesn't want to run boots.
No.
Glacier definitely doesn't want to run boots. It wants to run lumberries so it can get rid of poisons. It wants to run mental herbs so it doesn't get encore. It wants to
Yeah.
run so many items. I don't think it ever wants to run boots. So not having a reliable removal is going to be a big blunder. And Thunderous is gonna be basically his most infamous boot spam mon. It's gonna almost always have boots.
Yeah, Thunderous being a boots pivot every week is definitely going to be something that we're going to have to see.
Yeah.
But then that's kind of limiting on team construction, which is definitely a weakness.
And then you don't want Garg to be whittled down easily because if someone brings roar spam or taunt spam, Garg can't recover, and every time it comes in, it's taking what it's gonna be taking 6 from rocks or 12 from each individual spike, 12.5 from each spike. So it's gonna be a tough one. I did say I see it as the best team. But having spin really blunders it, so I wouldn't say it's an S tier. I just think like comparatively it matches up better against every single team. Um,
I agree. I think this is probably an A tier team because
Yeah.
it's not without a weakness that is exploitable.
mhm.
Like there are definitely some teams that have weaknesses that can be mitigated a little more than they can be on this
Yeah.
team. However, this team is definitely going to be a extremely good offensive presence and does have the strong defensive months that it definitely can beat the majority of teams.
Yeah, I think so as well. It just has to watch out for those hazards and get in
This
with
is
the
Black Tauros. So Black Tauros goes in the A tier. Awesome. All right.
So,
Oh,
Go ahead.
wrong team. Anything else you want to talk about with this team, or should we move on to the Blastoise?
yeah, let's move on to Baltimore Blastoise.
All right. So here we got, the once again the OU combination of Great Tusk, Ogerpon, Wellspring. We have a Terra Blaziken, which is definitely something interesting. I want to see how Terra Blaziken works. Then you got a little bit more low tier with the Venomoth and then the Bronzong later, but we do have the Enamorus here, which I think ties the team together as we didn't really see that OU like that high tier special attack presence, and then we see that again with Hydreigon
Special
later. Yeah, we see some bulk option with Terra Appleton here, and then the 1-point Ampharos, which, I mean, we'll see what happens, but I don't think that's going to be coming to the game.
I think he just got it for another flying resist, personally, because he has
Potentially.
2, 3, 4, 5 flying weak mons
Though
before
two of
Terra.
them, yeah, two of them can Terra. But
Well,
yeah,
can
that's
Terra.
definitely a big weakness. But you do have
Yeah,
stuff like
that's-
Bronzong that can tank it. But yeah, a lot of flying weak mons. We were talking about rapid spin. We have the best
Bronzong.
spinner like ever in Great Tusk. Here. Any other hazard removal? Hydreigon doesn't get defog, I know.
Indicate he has it. No, it doesn't get what
Okay.
some of the teams should have. When you're looking at their low point mons, probably get another mon that has removal to support their main remover. because sometimes switching it up in games is very good, because you sometimes you want to run bulk up toss, right? Bulk up toss sometimes on rapid spin, sometimes you want to run 4 attack non-rapid spin toss, because Tusk is so good. And I think personally, I think Tusk is a better Terra captain than Blaziken, but I
Hmm.
still want to see Blaziken shred teams. I want to see Blaziken just run through teams with Terra. And more than likely it's gonna be defensive Terras because he wants to get in those speed boosts. Knowing that Blaziken is slower than Great Tusk is very funny. It's a base 80 speed.
Yeah,
Um,
you'd think of it being so much faster, but it's based off speed
yeah,
boost. The one other thing I will say, and we'll get when we get to my team, I think we'll talk about this again, is how spin support is kind of crucial on a team with an Ogrepon
yeah,
mask because they can't run an item.
the item lock, yeah.
Yeah,
Um, Happily it's not Heart Flame because it's gonna be taking 25 from rocks every
yeah.
time and he
I
has quite a few rock weak mons.
yeah.
Sorry,
I
not quite a
mean, yeah, that's the unfortunate part is that you do have a bunch of rock weak mon teams. But here's the thing: if you don't expect your opponent to bring rocks, this team's fine. And Tusk
Mhm.
is a rock user that doesn't have to wear boots because if 4 times resist
Yeah,
rocks, though it can reach the spikes. So if you're worried about spikes, you kind of have to run boots. Tusk running rapid spin isn't the worst for it in the world. I've seen bulk up
no,
sets with
definitely
spin
not.
because then it gives you the speed boost, which
Get,
allows you to
get you
sweep
second.
anyways. Yeah. And like Tusk is gonna be fine running spin every week or not running spin. Like I think that's fine. It's not like a Quavel where spin limits it. You can really do
Yeah.
whatever with Great Tusk with spin. And
Literally, just getting a one speed boost can change so much. Because first being slower than a mon, like let's say, um, let me look at something real quick.
if I run like Boots, an Amorous,
Yeah, let's
Boots
pretend you're
Hydreigon,
slower than like
yeah,
Latios, and you spin and end up faster than Latios, and you can hit it super effective the next turn. That's kind of big, no? Because Tusk is a beast. It's one of the best mons ever
yeah,
created for Skills.
it's
It's just
so good.
it's really good. Right? Even just knockoff spin, headlong close combat. That's pretty much standard, and it hits everything.
It hits everything. Yeah, no, Tusk's coverage is so good. I mean, even Quavel can do that to an extent earlier. But I mean, once again, I think you don't want to roll compress that. Tusk is the roll compressor. It finds whatever role it needs to do, offensive, defensive, whatever, it does it. It actually gets a lot of fun support moves you don't always see in the OU ladder. I was
Yeah.
kind of testing that out while I was
Also,
making my team for this week. We'll get to that later. But, so this is a really interesting thing,
it
here.
gets stunned, which is very funny because
It gets
it's
taunt.
not a slow mon, and it can literally just when those walls come in. Let's say a Skarmory comes in, it just taunts it. It can't recover. It can't set up any hazards. Like, what is it gonna do? It gets taunt. It gets some other options as well, like roar. If you think about it,
Yeah.
it's good for the defense. Um, it also gets weather, which is iffy. I would never use Dust to set weather,
I
right?
wouldn't use
But
it to set weather, but in sun, it's kind of fun.
Sun is busted.
Yeah. And then, we're talking about Tusk a lot here and how good it is. If we want to talk about other things, pivoting into Tusk is something this team doesn't necessarily struggle to do because you have mons like Hydreigon, which is a good pivot, especially
Yeah,
with specs
it
that
has
thing can be so
Ogre
scary. Yeah, Ogrepon Water is just so good. It has been, and that's another that thing can set spikes. A lot of people don't think about that. This team actually
Yeah,
does have access to spikes and Tux.
it has
Does it have Tux?
T-Spike.
I don't. Yeah, does
Yeah,
Venomoth get
Venomoth gets
T-Spike?
T-Spikes,
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
The one thing about Venomoth is that thing's a little iffy when it comes to being a T-Spike absorber. And speak to
Oh
other.
wait, sorry. It gets a D. Wait, let me check if this is not Dex. It is not Dex. Let me check.
I doubt Venomoth still gets defog, right?
Let me check if it gets defog. No, it lost defog.
Yeah, it and Hydreigon both. If Hydreigon had defog, I'd say this team is like incredible. But I mean, this team is still really. This team's honestly really strong too. I like Bronzong and Appleton as bulk options alongside Great Tusk. I think the bulk is here. I think the offense is here, both physically and specially. Like this team puts a
Yeah,
lot of
I
pressure
see.
on the opponents.
It's such a good breaker. Just run specs. So this is the limitation of the team, in my opinion. Blaziken. It's not a bad man, but Blaziken is very funny because it can hit both physically and specially. As base 120 attack. And base
Yes,
one.
that's definitely something interesting. Is that Blaziken's a little hard to prep for in that aspect, but everything else, I mean,
Everything that's the issue. If forced to run protect, right? Like if you don't run protect, you're terror in turn one, and if you terror turn one, your second support mon can't terror, right? Um, I do think High Dragon with Terra is so powerful, right? Just Terra Fire, Fire Blast. It has coverage for everything, right?
yeah.
Um, Pawn could have turret. I think it's the same points as Blaziken as well, which is funny enough. One of the best Terras in the game, Ogre Pawn, not being chosen over Blaziken.
I think it's probably just for versatility purposes because you're kind of stuck when it comes to
Yeah,
terroring
Ogre Pawn
Ogrepon.
is kind of like Terra Encore SD. That's pretty much all it does. So if you have a good physical wall, it's kind of hard to break. It's kind of hard for Ogre Pawn to break, especially if you run like a mental herb or something. Like a Houndstone can just come in and burn an Ogre Pawn, theoretically. All right.
Yeah.
I do
Yeah.
love the enough pick because it helps balance out his speed tiers between Great Tusk, Hydreigon, Enamorus. My biggest issue is his speed is capped at 110. That, that's the
Yeah.
last
This thing's
one.
getting outspeed by. I think it's getting outsped by like everything, and like that's definitely gonna be a problem. Is you're gonna need to rely on bulk. So if
Yeah.
this team's main weakness is going to be that speed.
Mhm.
Blaziken does have speed boost though, so it can just protect,
Yeah.
and it's fine.
But that's the thing. You're gonna be forced to run protect always.
Yeah, you're kind of forced to run protect. The one other thing is that you could bring Blaziken in on something that it's faster than, and they're forced to switch, and you can get your speed that way. So, but I don't
Ones
know
that
how much does
faster than-
Terra help Blaziken.
That's the thing. What I'm saying is, I don't see how Terra is helping the Blaziken. It must be for the speed boost. They can get a defensive type in. Let's say
Yeah,
it's
like defensive SD and then go for a sweep off that is
Yeah.
like interesting, I guess.
That's the best I can see.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really the best I could see. It could also be completely defensive and run like Willow, but I don't necessarily like that. And this team,
I don't think support is.
I'm
gonna
looking
be-
at this team too. I don't see outside of like Amp. Does Bronzong still get T Wave?
Yeah, it gets Thunder Wave.
Okay.
Bronzon is a very good option because
It's a good
Bronzon
option, yeah.
actually can set up Psychic Terrain and prevent priority,
That's
which
interesting.
might be nice in some cases.
The
Uh,
one thing I was looking at here is that this team also kind of lacks Will-O-Wisp, which I kind of realized is actually a problem. I don't know. There's Gold can. The team last Will-O-Wisp too. A lot of these teams lack status options, which is interesting. But that's fine. It could be worse. This team. I don't know. It's like if this team was just slightly faster. If Blaziken was something else.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If he probably put Terra on Hydreigon, if he wanted to save on points, I think if he got Sticky Webs, it'd probably be a different discussion, right?
Yeah, sticky webs.
If
I
you-
don't always love just the sticky web cop out because I've run sticky webs and like you don't want to run it every week and then it becomes
Yeah,
a
I know
problem.
you don't want to run it, but he could run it. There's slower teams, right? Well, not really slower teams, but there are teams that he has a better speed matchup against, right? If he can control the weather at least. So what I'm thinking is if he got something like a cheap Spidops over Appleton, switched out his Terra from Blaziken to something like probably Ogrepon and Hydreigon, um he would be in a better position here. But
Yeah,
other than that, Hydreigon pick. I think Hydreigon is gonna put in work for him. From the past two teams that we saw, we don't see any good fairies that want to switch into Hydreigon, right? You have Valiant, but Valiant doesn't want to just switch into Hydreigon because it's gonna lose its booster speed, and he has a Bronzon sitting in the back that can just eat hits from Val.
what if instead of like, what if instead of Blaziken he drafted like Gouging Fire or something that can like DD or like boost your speed
That would be crazy.
and Terra that?
That would
like,
be. I
Mm.
think Gouging Fire would have been nicer on this team, and it's faster as well. I believe it has better bulk. It has a burning bulwark. I think it would have been a better option, but he wouldn't have Hydreigon. He'd probably have to swap a Hydreigon for.
That's fine. You can get something a little. It's 91 speed on catching fire, by the way, then that's fine, because there's probably other things besides High Dragon you can work with
I
that
think
could be a little
91
faster.
and then he has 106. That's fine. So he doesn't need High Dragon. If he got Gaujin, he didn't need High Dragon. So you could have just swapped out High Dragon for another dark type. Probably a fast dark.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I was thinking, like a fast dark. Any 14
Probably
point.
Greninja.
Probably
I'm not sure
what?
Gren is.
Gren, there's no way Gren's that low.
Gren
I,
is
I,
not
if,
that.
if Gren was that low, I would have complained.
Let me just check the job.
There's Weavile. Weavile is the same team. But Weavile's physical. But Weavile is there. Greninja's 15. So he could have literally sacrificed like 1 point on something and gotten Greninja
That's
instead.
if he got Spidops, I think Spidops is 2. He would have changed from Appleton. He would have like the change of Appleton to invest into High Dragon and get Weavile.
Yeah, or just get Greninja. Like I saw, if you sacrifice the 1 point, well then Okrapon will type overlap. So even Weavile is the same as High Dragon. Whatever. Point is, I think this team could have been constructed slightly better. But having said that, I think it's fine.
Sure.
I mean, I think this is either A or B.
I don't think it's A. I think it's probably bottom of B. I do think the Chien-Po team is better than this team. Even though it only has 1 spinner.
Why did my tier list reset?
Wow.
That's annoying. Okay. Sure, man. Is there like a way of like guaranteed saving this?
Let me just check real quick.
Alright.
You can download it actually, which is funny.
Yeah, I can download it, but then I don't feel like re-uploading it every single time. Alright.
Oh wait, all the are gone?
Yeah, I don't know, everything I already did like progress and everything went gone. It's just slightly annoying.
My god.
But I mean,
just check if you...
it's fine, I can do this quickly. And voila. Okay, so
whose team
this is what we would. This is what we'd have so far.
the Black
Tauros A, these
Black-
two B.
It's A, yeah, and I think Baltimore is the bottom of B currently.
Yeah, that's what I have set here currently. All right, so we can go with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, give me a second here. I think stuff
Next
is. All right. Yeah, you can go ahead.
Yeah, next up we have the Volcanic Wigs, Moonlit Lucy. I really have high hopes for Lucy. I kind of have high hopes. I'm not biased at all, right? I do think she has the most intimidating team we have seen so far, and there are a few reasons. Arena Trap is allowed. That's why Pterodog Trio is 15 points, guys. Don't think we're just crazy and putting Dog Trio way up. Arena Trap is allowed. This is the craziest team we've seen so far, and she's taking advantage of this small pool of players that are drafting, right? Getting Darkrai so late, the 7th round, right?
Yeah, that Darkrai value pick is insane.
Bundle Sneasler, Bowler are crazy. And not to mention, she got the terrain setter. It's not a Tapu Koko, but it's still a terrain setter. Run a red card on it or something. Get that man out. Just get it in. Let it take a hit and get it out instantly.
Yeah.
Bring in one of your
Pincurchin, to me, feels like a 5-point Vulpix. Like, that's just kind of what it feels like. It's not able to do much outside of just set the terrain. But setting to terrain is so valuable.
It does a lot more though. It gets every hazard except for rocks. And
Yeah.
webs. It gets spikes and spikes, which is a very good. It gets Scald. It gets I think Rising Voltage. I'm not sure if it gets Rising Voltage. My only issue with Urchin, it doesn't get Volt Switch, man.
Yeah, I don't get why it doesn't. Like, that would just be so good. I mean, look at these first 4 bonds, though. And look at look at those first 4 months. Terra bundle, by the way, guys, is so insane. I think Terra on bundle makes it so much better, and people don't realize that. I mean, for one thing, you talk about giving bundle coverage, which it doesn't typically get, so you can give it like a Terra Electric Terra Blast. But actually, one of my favorite things to do with it, and I was considering doing this myself when it came to bundle, is if you Terrastalize it into a water type, you can run Terra Blast Water, and that completely removes you from having to deal with Hydro Pump. Yeah, exactly. Like, that prevents you from having to deal with Hydro Pump misses. That's so strong in itself.
I really like this team, and she got really good removal options as well. Remember we were talking about teams that are weak to hazards.
Yeah, no, this team.
This team isn't weak to hazards.
You've got
She
both
has
Fortress and Zarina for Rapid Spin. Yeah, that's so good.
And Serena is very good balance for the team as well, because it gives it that ground resist, that very needed ground resist. Because if you look on the first 4 months, 3 of them are weak to ground.
Yes. And Zarina's a good ground resist. That's one thing, is that this team can be slightly ground weak, because we do see no levitates, no flying, so this is one of the only teams I've seen so far without a ground
None of the
immune.
ground weak months can Terra either. Yeah, which is weird. Terra Sneasler is really good. I did expect Terra Bundle Terra Sneasler, but I think what they're gonna do is use Dog Trio to just lead Dog Trio and get rid of a threat immediately.
Yeah.
I think the play, like getting in Dog Trio, trapping something, Terra Ground.
I want to check something here, out of pure curiosity. I want to open Pool B really quickly. I haven't taken too much of a look at it. Do we see?
It does get rising voltage. Yeah, it's pretty good. And it's not doesn't I think it has like base 80 special attack.
Okay, Pool B has Thwacky. I was gonna say, because I knew Pool A has electric terrain for Sneasler, and Pool C has grassy terrain, and Pool D has misty terrain. I was like, if Pool B is psychic terrain, we would have had 4 different terrain setters for Sneasler in every division. But Pool B is Thwacky, so there's 2 grassy terrains, unfortunately. That would have been funny though.
It's crazy because Pinch Urchin is not a weak one. It's just slow.
Yeah, it's like, very slow, and it doesn't get enough.
I think it does get enough actually, because it gets recovery.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
my favorite form of recovery is Pain Split, because its HP is so low. Like if a defensive mon if you lead Pinch Urchin on a mon that's a rocker or something, you just Pain Split immediately and you take 50% of their HP without taking any damage.
A couple things from Lucy, by the way, who's in chat, said that Pinch Urchin does get rising voltage, and also that she apparently did not have any ground resist until post Grace, when she changed it for Zarina. I think she had something else.
I think that was a good. That was
a good change, I think.
Yeah, not having a ground resist and having 4 months on your roster weak to ground is like wishing for Great Tusk to 6-0.
Yeah. Great Tusk would have been so funny, but yeah, no, I mean, Zarina's a threat because you have to worry about knockoff triple axle. It actually gets
triple axle is the biggest thing, because if Zarina comes in and spin and it gets a +1 speed, what is gonna switch in on a triple axle or a power whip?
Yeah, like this thing is definitely really strong, and even if a mon switches into both like triple axle power up, so you're looking at like a steel type there. So you're looking at something like a Bronzong, like a Golden Go, like a Skarmory. Those guys might. Yeah, exactly. Those guys might not necessarily want to get a knockoff. So Rapid Spin you might want to, like, if a Zarina comes in, you probably want to go into your Golden Go like before the spin, but then what if it goes for knockoff? So Zarina forces a lot of 50-50s, and it could just U-turn to be safe too if it doesn't want to get stuck.
When Serena comes in, knockoff is almost always free.
Yeah, knockoff's pretty much always free. It's like the knockoff, U-turn, rapid spin, like those 3 options. You don't even have to worry about getting hit, but you do. So like this thing's got just enough options that it's always scary.
Someone says you're gonna play Lucy next. We did find one issue with her team though. Her team is almost like perfect in my opinion.
Yeah, and even if you're listening in to try and get information on Lucy, just note that we will be talking about your team, or we've talked about your team, and Lucy's here too. So it's only so much of an advantage.
We talk about the good and the bad for every team.
That might be a fun fight to watch. Yeah.
I really like Lucy's options here. Like Sneasler is such a threat even without Terra. This man just comes in and the thing about it is, people always think like it has to be terrain boost. Like she can bring terrain and not bring electric seeds. She could just bring Sash, because I've done that a lot. I've just brought Sash Sneasler.
Okay, but hear me out. You bring Iron Bundle, Sneasler, Doug Trio, Zarina, Darkrai Fortress, bring no terrain, and just win without even unburdening, and you're completely fine. Like,
The offensive pressure, just bundle and Darkrai alone,
yeah.
like the combination of Life Orb Dark Pulses, Choice Specs Hydro Pump, or Terra wide lens Hydro Pump, stuff like that, right? Nothing is really switching in between, and bundle can pivot.
Bundle
Sneasler can
pivots,
pivot.
yeah. That's the other thing, like we're
As
talking about
Serena can
Darkrai,
pivot.
Iron Bundle being these strong special attackers, then you have Sneasler, which could not only be like an Unburden Sweeper, that thing could run Poison Touch, Dire Qual, and ruin your entire day.
So
Like,
annoying.
it's so
You don't
annoying,
know.
yeah. Did we ban? Yeah, no, I don't think Dire Qual's banned, right? We're good on that.
Yeah, no, that class is not banned.
Okay, yeah,
And
yeah.
I kind of think Boulder is a Septon man. It's always ranked high, but people never really use it well. Let's see how well she uses it. I'm not gonna spoil, but this man has just like it has a set that is unbeaten, but I don't really see people run it off.
I'm not a big fan of Boulder in draft. I just think it's very one-dimensional. I faced Boulder in PDL finals of season 1, and I was
If
able to handle it.
I would run Mental Herb sub every single week.
Yeah.
Mental Herb sub SD and run 2 attacks. Like
That set's really fun until you run into a Dragapult. who ran Infiltrator, Shadow Ball, and OCO'd you. But yeah.
No. Iron Boulder has not bundle. Iron Boulder has really good speed up. It doesn't die to one Shadow Ball. I don't even think Specs. If it has a little investment, Specs Shadow Ball doesn't OCO.
I will run that calc for you.
I'm pulling up the calc.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have a calc open.
Dragapult.
Dragapult. Oh, you choice specs, and then.
Oh, Dragology, not Dragology. Dragapult.
Specs.
Shadow Ball does 95. This is without any bulk.
Yeah.
It does 95 to 112. So if you're running a little bulk, as I said, just run some HP on this thing, and it's living Shadow Ball. It can always take 1 Shadow Ball.
Yeah, as long as it has 160 HP or more, it guaranteed lives a Shadow Ball without like rocks damage or whatever. Oh, you know what? No, because it's subbing, so you're losing 25% health. So
Yeah, maybe if it was Terra, well, that's true. It's probably not gonna be unless you're full bulk. So maybe not. The subsets won't work.
But that's fine. I mean, like, there's other things you can do.
It could work because if you bring in Boulder and SD before you sub and they go hard Bolt, you're gonna have the speed boost from the terrain and you outspeed Bolt.
Yeah. No, I mean, I definitely think this is a strong team. Like, it's
the best offensive team in this pool.
Yeah, defensively, it lacks a little bit. This is an HO team. This is definitely a hyper offense.
Serena and Fortress are its best
defensive options, and those are those are a little like that. Then your defensive options are fire weak. Maybe this is the Blaziken team, but
what? Let's explain to her Terrafire Blaziken.
Sure, man. All right, but yeah, it's got a couple of weaknesses.
Only Okos after SD Moonlight. She's saying booster speed. You Oko after SD. So if Dragapult doesn't like hard switching on a boulder, it can't beat it.
Gotcha. So it has to be a read. Okay, I can picture that.
Yeah, but actually, the more I look at this, oh yes, let's talk about the bad. What we've noticed. What we've noticed about this team is it has impeccably fast mons, right?
Yeah,
and
so
then
not slow.
Pinch Earthen and Fortress, and Serena isn't slow. It's basically
it's middling. It's a mid.
Too slow. Yeah, it's just right in the middle. It can't. It's not a trick room man, and it's not a very fast offensive man.
Mm-hmm.
So if any team pulls up against you with Trick Room turn 1, you might have a lot of problems. And you don't have the bulkiest mon, so let's say stall out Trick Room turns, because if they bring a Terrafire, like a Terrafire Terra Captain in Trick Room, a slow mon, right? It just breaks through your walls, so you're not gonna really have much options right there.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and the other thing, so yeah, Trick Room's obviously good versus team. The other two things we've noticed are it's not the best bulk. Obviously, Zarina and Fortress are good, but there are holes, and ground weak. Outside is Zarina.
Yeah, if you get rid of Serena, like as we said, Great Tusk goes in.
That might
Like
be. That's gonna be a
I'm not
fun
gonna,
matchup.
I'm not gonna. Actually, she has the worst matchup against the Great Tusty.
That
Like
Baltimore Blastoise team in general is so good
yeah,
versus her.
it's her worst match. I don't know if he literally counter built just for Lucy, but that team looks so good into it.
That would be really funny. All right. So yeah, I mean, I think this team's obviously really strong offensively. Definitely the best offensive team here. I just think it
Yeah,
lacks a little bit in the defense department and has a couple of exploitable weaknesses. So what do we say?
yeah.
Do we say top of B or do we say bottom of A? Because oh my
I think it's
god.
bottom of eight. I don't think it can be B. It's just so so good. I don't think it can be B.
Yeah, I'm gonna need like a permanent loader. This website keep on resetting on me. I don't like this.
Oh my
I might
god.
just do. We might just have to do all the tiering later, honestly. So you know what? I'll do that.
Yeah.
I'll like put on my notes app like currently.
Oh,
Like
what will replace them?
yeah, like where we place them, and then we can order them all later.
Oh my god. Lucy says it's her week one matchup.
Oh my god, no! That's right, 3v4 is always one. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, got you.
it's crazy.
Okay,
All right.
so we have discussed. Let me look at the teams we've discussed really quickly. Okay, so is Palafins
It's
B,
currently top of B. Yeah.
Tauros is A. Yeah, Blastoise is
Bottom of B currently.
B, yeah, and Wigs is A. Okay, so with that, let's move on to my former team. A lot of you might be confused seeing this. I have traded off ownership of the Toronto Punk Rock as I have a new team, and I did want the logo to go to good use, so I gave it to Looper, who is competing in both of our divisions and should hopefully be a competitor we see more often, just because he needed a logo, and that I definitely like this team. We've discussed a couple of things about it that we don't like, but let's start off with the good. And the good is, Urshifu Single Strike plus Galarian Slowking plus Kyurem is stupid. That's
Yeah.
a really good offensive trio. I mean, obviously, Glowking is more of like your bulky pivot, right? But you see it on pretty much every single balanced offense team. Just yeah.
It's just the man that it's the best enabler. It just enables, and giving Kiram
Chili.
that slow,
Yeah.
that defense buff, right? Every time you pivot, you give this man a defense buff. It's so good, right?
And bulk on this team is good too. I mean, you have
Yeah,
Uxie, you have
yes,
Mandibuzz.
Uchi, which is overall like what 130,
It's
75,
130, 130.
130.
Yeah.
He has super good physical bulk, Magnezone good physical bulk, Mandibus like well-rounded man. But then that's my issue with it. It's kind of too bulky. It seems like it's a wannabe stall team, right?
I mean,
Or
you
semi
have.
stall.
If you look at the offense, you have Kyurem, you have Urshifu, and then
Yeah, it has
Magnezone,
very good
Magnezone and Scizor, both Terra, which we'll discuss more on that later. But both of those are good offense teams. And Azumarill's obviously got belly drum sweeps. I think there's enough that you can run balance every week, and
It
it's
is.
fine.
Does have good offensive elements, but the reason why I say I think it looks more stally to me is you your first three are so phenomenal, and then below after Mandibuzz and Magnezone, the only two real offensive like great offensive mons he has is Azumarill and Scizor.
Yeah, what I will say is that the team has a lot of knockoff users, which means you make a lot of progress in terms of diminishing the opponent's options to hazards, which actually I don't even know if this team gets too much hazards. I mean, you have Quag, but
It gets all the hazards.
Stealth
He has
Rocks on
Quag
Uxie, right?
rocks, spikes, T spikes. Uxie gets rocks.
Okay. I was just wondering, because if I don't want to bring low tiers every
Broken
week to
gets
set my
rocks.
hazards, you know? Like,
Yeah, and that's another limitation. If he's gonna go off, oh, I'm gonna set up hazards and then win the long run because I have Slowking that can literally come in on any special hit, and I have Scizor that can bulk, that can take any non-fire type physical move, right? Between Uxie, that's what I'm saying. It seems more of like a stall. It's gonna have like a stall core to it, right? Like Mandibus coming in, toxic in something, or defogging, getting rid of hazards. Oh yeah, that's another thing. His removal options are only defog. He has Mandibus.
Mandibuzz Defog, yep. That's, I mean, that's not the worst. It removes your own hazards, but I mean, it means you're not limited to ghost types, you're just limited to Golden Go. But,
Yeah. But
yeah.
my issue with that is that Scizor never wants to run defog. On a team like this, Scissor needs to be Choice Man Bullet Punch or SD Bullet Punch.
Yeah, I mean, you can choose to run it more defensive. I mean, look, you're the other thing I want to talk about, and we both kind of discussed this, is that the Terra captains are not our favorites.
Yeah.
I think Terra Quag, Terra Curum would have been cooler, but these aren't the worst Terra captains in the world. They definitely can do stuff like mitigating Scizor's fire weakness is fine, and giving Magda's own coverage with Terra Blast is okay. But I feel like you could do so much more.
I think Terra Scissor is fine, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, I think he should have gotten a better, another special breaker that is better than Magnezone, because he's doubling down on the steel types right there. If he had another mon, right, and he doesn't seem to be, he does have one real flying weak mon. He doesn't really have a flying resist. So I think if he got an electric type, a very good electric type, and Terra at that, it would have been better than Magnezone. Not saying it's a bad electric type, it's just very slow.
Yeah, I don't love the speed on this team. This seems not fast.
The fastest mon, sorry, is a speed type between Kuram and Uxie. No, sorry, Urshifu is 97.
Yeah, I don't think Urshifu peaks 100. Does Kuram peak 100?
None of them make 100. He doesn't have any mon.
Really?
Base 97.
97 is the fastest. That's not great.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about when I say it looks way more like they're gonna be fat bulkier mon sitting down.
Yeah, this team has to run bulk because you're never outspeeding anything.
And you see why I said he has to run at Bandit or SD Scissor, because he has to get the priority bullet punch. That's his like
bullet
biggest
punches. Win. Yeah, I mean, you could run more defensive and then have like Bandit, Huge Power, Aqua Jet on the Azumarill, but still. Yeah.
Like, Scissor is gonna be the one that hits first always, and that's a problem. If Scissor is gonna be your quote unquote fastest mon, it's kind of a problem, right? Because it needs to get off a SD to do the damage. And if it's Terra, I kind of like Terrafire Scizor. It's pretty good. You just Terrafire, and then the steel types that usually come in on it can't come in on it again, and then you just SD bullet punch everything else.
Yeah.
Right, and he has very good water type options as well. To beat other water types. But if he got some faster mons, right? Let me look at what's left on the draft board. He can't make any changes, unfortunately.
Yeah, but you know we like discussing hypotheticals.
Yeah, like Torrentee is available, right? Yeah, you have mons like Torrentee, even Roaring Moon, Garchomp, are still available. Iron Moth is still available. You have a lot of faster mons. Latios is available. Keldeo, right?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of options.
Yeah, he had a lot of options, right? I think maybe getting a different fairy type, a faster fairy type, because he got Azumarill. Like, you see a lot of double typings here, right? He has 3 water types.
Yeah, there's definitely some typing overlap issues. I want to throw this team. Yeah, give me a minute here. I want to throw this team into something so I can just quickly check up on some type weaknesses. But you know, there definitely are some concerns when it comes to this team. Speak to Electric.
Yeah, because he have Rapid Strike, Mandibuzz, and Azumarill. So, and his electric resistances are Qrem and Quagsire. So it's electric weak.
I mean, those aren't the worst, but yeah, this team's definitely got its flaws.
It does. It's not flying weak per se. It doesn't seem. It seems a little dark weak in my opinion, because I don't see a fairy type. There's no fairy type. It's a bit dark weak. There's this dark resist.
No fairy Dragon Steel Core is interesting. No.
He doesn't even have a complete fire water grass core either.
He doesn't have either. I mean, I've seen. I'm never a fan of not completing your cores unless you're like a rain team. Which case, like, go ahead. But yeah.
And he has only like looking at it, it's very interesting, right? When you look at it compared to others, because he picked up Urshifu. Oh, sorry, it's single strike, not surgeon strike.
Yeah, it's single strike.
So it's not a water type. It doesn't have that much electric weakness as I thought.
Yeah, I'm looking here. I'm like almost done inputting the team.
I'm blabbering on and just realizing it's single strike, but that makes it more fairy weak. Like probably that's why I picked up double steal with Slow King.
Yeah, okay, so I'm looking here. He has. The team actually doesn't have any glaring type weaknesses. It's coverage for all of them is pretty solid. It's just post Terra, it's very weak.
Mm-hmm.
And post Terra can be flying weak. His only flying resist is mag.
With Magnet Zone, yeah. So if Mag Terra's outside of the electric, this is why I'm saying if you got a better electric type,
Yeah. Um,
I think I would have shift up some stuff. I just realized because I was saying why is Surgeon Strike 20 points, but it's single.
it's single
Um,
strike. Yeah.
I don't think getting double dark type is fun because Mandibus doesn't resist fighting, and fighting type seems very spammable into him.
Yeah.
Like
Fighting type gets shut down by the Glow King, the Azu, the Uxie. Is the idea?
no, the thing about it is every fighting type gets knockoff. Like almost every fighting type gets
Yep,
knockoff
that's
coverage.
true. So it's really it's really Azu, and you don't want to run bulky Azu. I mean, I've seen some Paris Trap shenanigans. Maybe we'll see some Paris Trap shenanigans, but yeah, I'm not
Maybe.
I'm not the biggest fan of this team, if I'm gonna be entirely honest.
I think personally, I'm not sure. Like maybe he got some options sniped from him. I do think he can put in work. It can put in work because you have QREM, Glow
Yeah,
King, and Finger Strike.
like
These mons,
those first three are always gonna be a threat, no matter
yeah.
what. Like you have to worry about that. And Kiram with DD is obviously
And Kieran
scary.
can be both physical or special. Um, and that's something you have to watch out for. You can't really predict which one is coming, which I do like. His team is kind of versatile on what side it's hitting or
Yes.
applying pressure to the most.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. This seems either bottom of B or top of C for me.
Probably let's put a top at C for now.
All right.
Um, I do think only having defog as your form of removal is punishable. Um, because taunt stops it, right? Golingo stops it. Um, in my opinion,
Yeah,
I do like Mandibuzz as a mon because it still gets toxic, loose,
I do
and
like
defog.
Mandibuzz. Yeah.
But Mandibuzz has four move slot
All right,
syndrome.
so we'll do top of C, I think. All
Yeah.
right, if you want to move on to Yamazen's team, the Chansey Challenge champions, go ahead. I'll be right back. I have to do something for a couple of minutes here, and then yeah, we'll talk. So if you want to open up with this team, I'll be right back.
Yeah. So let's look into the Chances Challenge champions. Excadrill, sorry, I don't know what's happened. Excadrill Tyranitar are a very good start. Ensure that he gets his weather off. I'm surprised this is I think every single pool has a weather team, and I'm surprised they're very diverse. Because is it every single pool? I know there's a rain team, I think there's a sun team, and there's a sun team as well. Excadrill, Tyranitar, Excadrill being a spinner, so it doesn't really have to force sand every week because Excadrill is very hard to switch into. Like having Earthquake Stab and Mold Breaker to break like Levitate Mons and so forth, it's very hard to switch into. And Dragapult probably arguably the best Pokemon in draft. It is tied with Valiant up there for best draft Pokemon. His team has very good special and physical options. Having Terra Latias, I've played Smogon Summer Seasonal, I played World Cup, I played Winter Seasonal, and I'm telling you, Latias is a threat. I think it's now Terra banned because it used to just run Terra Poison, Weakness Policy, Recover, and Store Power. You used to run Draining Kiss, Store Power, and nothing could beat it. So it's gonna be fun to see what Latios has to offer, as well as Arcanine. I love Arcanine Hisui. It's a very fun mod. Choiceman Extreme Speed, Choiceman Head Smash, or Choice Scarf, depending on which is necessary. Like Terra Rock, Rockhead, Head Smash decimates everything. Right? I think it's still even 2 KO Spectrum. He has good removal. He has three removal options. He has two spinners, Exadrill, Hitman Top, and he has one defog option, which is Corviknight. And I love me some Corviknight. Corviknight can match up against almost any other wall and win 1v1 just because of the steel flying type having access to roofs and the U-turn. A lot of people give Corviknight a lot of stick because they say it's a U-turn but it's a bot to get in to click U-turn. And so what if it's a bot? Like when you have options like Extra Drill in the sand, or you have options like Dragapult, Choice Spectre, Dragon Dance, or you have Arcanine Hisui, which you can U-turn into with ease. You could even run like Flashfire Arcanine, depending on the matchup, just so you can cover the Corviknight. I do think he has a very good blend of mons here. Inteleon is a very interesting option. It gives him a natural speed tier of 120 plus. It is base 120 exactly, which I like. Looking at his speed tier, his highest speed is 142 Dragapult. Then it drops down to Inteleon, then Ambipom, Inteleon 120, Ambipom 115, um, Latios 110, Excadrill, which is 180. It's not 188. That's special run. Oh, how much is it? Is 182? Let me just double check that. My God. Yes, it's 188 actually. I was right. So it's a very good speed to bridge the gap between Excadrill and Latios, because 12 points isn't bad. If it was more than 15, it would have been a problem, right? 15 is like exact, and anywhere between that is somewhat ideal. So usually you look for months that don't have a big jump. So let's say 15 base speed points. So 100, 110 is a good range, and then 100, 110, 120 perfect range, right? If you had 100, 115, and then 130, that's actually a really good range as well because it covers all the options in between. So I do like the speed tiers. My only issue with this team, what's my I don't actually think I have a particular issue with this team. I just think it's very fighting weak. Um Outside of everything, it's very fighting weak. If there's a good physical attacking fighting type, like Great Tusk for instance, it runs through this team. Greatus just runs Choice Man CC and or Choice Scarf CC. The only option he has is like Dragapult to come in on the fighting types. But if it were a team like the Toronto Pancrafts, where his fighting type also is Dark type and has Dark Stab, I don't see how well he's gonna match up into that. I do think fighting Dark are a big issue for him. Yeah, he has only one dark resist, two dark resist really. He has Hitmontop and Tyranitar, and Tyranitar is no slouch with having access to T Wave. It gets knockoff now. It gets Stealth Rock. I think it's a really good mon, especially defensive wise, getting that Spidef buff right off the rip with the Sandstream. Buffing mons like Arcanine as well, so Arcanine can actually live a bit longer. It also gives you chip to other mons, right? Any mon that isn't steel rock or has the overcoat type or ground type, overcoat ability or is ground type, really don't benefit from the sand. So having sand chip everything away. So choice scarf, Arcanine can come in and clean, or choice band, or you chip everything away and then have Dragapult come in and specs Draco. Everything seems really good in my opinion. I really like Choice Specs and Dragapult on this team because it gives him a very hard hitting special attack option. Then you have Inteleon, which is so slept on. I have played against a fair few Inteleon in my time, and I am telling you, this one is slept on because it always crits me. But if I ever draft it, it never crits anything. Right? Like Snapshot Inteleon is crazy. That man is doing 70% to any resist. I also like Hitmontop as a mon in general. Option to rapid spin, it gets knockoff, it gets triple axle. I just wish this one got SD. if it got SD, I don't think it would be as low as it is. It's probably like 10, 11 points because it's pretty good overall. It has very good bulk, right? It doesn't have the best HP, base 70, I think, base 80 defense and base not 80, base 90 defense and base 110.
All right, I'm back.
Yeah, what's up, man?
So
I'm here breaking up the team. Actually,
yeah,
looking at this team, like the only weaknesses I see are fighting dark. Any like fighting dark combination kind of hits him very hard. Um, if you look extra drill, Tyranitar, Corv doesn't resist fighting. Arcanine, his only fighting resist on the team is Latios, and he has a fighting immunity which is Dragapult. But everything else takes neutral or super effective from fighting types.
yeah, I'm currently inputting all that just to check up. I have like a thing.
Mhm.
But yeah, uh,
I do think after we're talking about it so oh yeah, I was saying Excadrill is such a good offensive one as well
Excadrill is a
because
really good offensive one.
he's not forced to run sand. He can run mold breaker
I love
whenever
Mold
you
Breaker Excadrill.
right. Having
Yeah.
a few, seen a few like levitate mons being popular, the Rotums for example and so forth, or any other mon that has levitate. Nothing wants to switch into earthquake.
And he is one of the better uh, Levitate Mons in Terra Latios here.
Yeah. I was saying that Latios is such a threat. Like Terra Poison, Terra Fairy, Terra Steel,
Terra
and it
Electric even,
runs
I've
weakness.
seen.
Yeah, sometimes electric, and it runs weakness policy, recover, sword power, draining kiss. And
Yeah.
what's gonna
Stored Power Draining Gift sets I know were like so absurd. That's why I think got banned from UU.
yeah, it also got banned from Smogon draft tours. So
Really?
it was
That's
a long
crazy.
and it was banned. It wasn't able to Terra rather. So they
Uh,
banned it from Terra just because it can just snowball. Like Terra Poison is so hard to handle. Like what's gonna
Team can struggle with Fairy a little bit too.
yeah, it could struggle with Fairy, but having options like Corviknight
Yeah,
and
Excadrill.
yeah, coming in on Fairy types. One thing I didn't talk about is this team's major weakness: toxic spikes.
No grounded poison. I mean, you
He
have Corv as a defogger and Excadrill as a
he
rapid
has three
spinner.
removal. He has Rapid Spin on Hitmontop, Exegil, and Defog on Corv. The thing is, he probably won't get the chance to spin before something gets poisoned.
Yeah, that is definitely a worry though. He's got two removers that are steel types, which is cool. Yeah, and Latios has got Levitate. This team definitely has a T-Spike weakness in a sense, but I do think you can make it work.
Yeah, I think you can make it. He can make it work. As you said, he has a few immune mons, but
Three immunities and Boots Pulse is never going to be bad because you're pretty much going to outspeed everything always.
I think he always wants to run specs though, because like Tyranitar is so good at getting the chip with the Sandstorm, and like just having
Yeah.
specs will come in and click Earthquake or Shadow Ball to finish a game is so good to have in the back.
Yeah.
Not saying it can't run like bulky Willow Hex, but like the more Dragapult is out, the more chip it gets if he brings Sand. So I do think
Team also only
Leaf-
has Stealth Rock as a hazard.
let me check.
No
Except-
spike users, no toxic spike users. I've got that all pulled up.
No, that is true. He doesn't have a poison type or a mon that is toxic spikes. Which is very limiting. He's probably not gonna play much hazards, realistically, because Arcanine probably comes in banded most times. Excadrill is probably gonna be SD. Is it more than likely it's gonna be like lead spikes, not spikes, lead rocks, Tyranitar, if he wants to get up hazards. But outside that, I don't see him running a hazards game. He's probably the reason why he has such limited hazards option is because he has both defog and rapid spin.
Mm.
So I don't think he wants to force hazards when if push comes to shove, he's defogging them away.
By the way, the backup Terra Captain here, we didn't really talk about Hisui and Arcanine. Meh.
It's a monster. Terra Rock Head Smash.
Terra Rock Head
Terra Rock-
Smash is gonna nuke something, but I feel like there's better Terra options in my opinion.
There are better Terra options. Like Terra Grass is actually very slept on because
Yeah.
it gives it coverage to hit water ground types, because Swampert is a mon that actually switches into Arcanine and Hisui very easily.
Not like he's
Even-
gonna have to worry about Swampert. He has to worry about Quagsire, not Swampert.
Yeah. Yeah, true. In this pool, he has to worry about Quagsire more, um, which I don't think takes Rocket as well as Swampert does, although it does resist it. Um, so rock grown, not rock grown, ground water types are very good against Arcanine, and getting that grass type, making it resist ground type moves, making it super effective against the water types, is actually pretty good. I have seen it
By the
used
way,
to some extent.
in you Mezen says in chat, hazards are for cowards. I just click buttons, which is fair. That's what this team looks like.
It does look like Bandit Arcanine just comes in and clicks buttons.
Yeah,
Um, like, and to be honest, Specs Inteleon is nothing to be stopped. I was talking about it. I
Specs
Specs,
Inteleon. Yeah, no, and also just running the scope lens Inteleon
yeah, like, Scope Lens Inteleon is insane.
with
But I'm
sniper
telling
and
you,
stuff, just like crit
when
funny.
people use Inteleon against me, it's 100% crits.
Yeah,
When I use it, it never
never
crits.
crits.
I'm telling you, the man is doing 75% to resist.
Yeah,
Put
I
a
know, it's
choice
insanity.
and nothing resists this thing.
So yeah, this team's offensive pressure is insane, and honestly, the defense isn't half bad.
Yeah.
If we're talking about weaknesses,
The biggest one is mm, poison. The biggest
yeah.
one would be the no grounded poison types.
Hmm.
Um, it would be the immediate one that stands out. The second one is fighting dark. So
Yep.
something like Urshifu.
Yeah, but being weak to one mon is like just kind of the point. It's gonna be draft.
Yeah.
So yeah, the fighting knockoff combination is definitely gonna be something that can weaken
Yeah.
this team. Sui's, do we think this makes A tier?
I'm not sure. I like it a lot, and it has options. I think it does make A tier, bottom of
I
A
think
tier.
it makes the bottom of A tier. Yeah.
I was talking about how Tyranitar also enables Arcanine Hisui as well because it gives it that death buff that makes it live a
Yeah,
bit
until it
longer.
terras. Yeah.
And even sometimes it's Terra Rock, right? Like Terra
Yeah.
Rock,
True.
Rocket,
True. True.
it still keeps the buff.
All right. So I like that. All right. So that's going to be our review of Pool A. We're going to move on to Pool B here. So the different pools, guys, the way that this works is that you only challenge people within your pool and you also draft separately. So you're going to see some repeat bonds here, but that is because these guys are interesting. Though, interestingly enough, I think our first team here, the Minneapolis Magnazones, I don't think any of these mons were drafted in Pool A, which is really interesting. I see some repeats throughout the rest of the division, but is this just like a completely unique team in Pool B? Could someone have drafted this in Pool A?
None of these mons were drafted.
Wow, that's really interesting, actually.
Yeah, this is actually very, very interesting. Is
Yeah.
this the division I'm in?
Pool B, no, you're in C. This is
C.
yeah. So this
Like,
is
a
really
lot of-
interesting.
Wait, even a lot of the teams look fresh. Like some of these mons.
Do I see a team with Dragapult and Valiant? Oh no.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
But that team is probably gonna be way up there.
Oh boy. Okay, we'll get to that.
Yeah,
Let's
just
start.
got this in mind.
All right, let's start with Minneapolis Magnazones here. Pick Bear 07 or Pick Bears 07. Ogrepon Hearthflame team, except it's not the Terra versions, unfortunately. I don't know. Let's see. So Terra Latios is obviously really good. We've got two
Very good.
Dragon
That's
Sweepers. Okay, interesting. Gliscor, Tentacruel,
Dragon.
Terra. Feraligatr at 2 is really kind of a value pick. Jirachi's cool. Ursaluna's cool. I don't actually know how I feel about this
So my
team.
favorite mon on this team is Ursaluna. I'm not sure how I feel about it either. It has 3 dragon types.
3 dragon types. Yeah, I mean, Latios is going to Terra, but
Zero
Salamence,
fairy.
Salamence and Regidrago just feel like the same thing to me.
I think Salamence is more versatile because it gets
Yeah.
way more coverage. It can run like Fire Blast. It can run like Specs, Hydro Pump, Hurricane, Fire Blast sets.
So, like, why
It can-
Regidrago then? Like, what's the point of the Regidrago on this team?
Probably it's his favorite mon. I think Regidrago is more similar to Latios, in which it's like a nuke, right? It
Yeah,
just comes in
I
as
can see that.
dragon energy, but the roles overlap a lot
Mm.
for Latios and Regidrago.
Yeah, Regidrago concerns me a little bit. It's not my favorite mon on the team.
He has probably the best hazard setter in the game, which is Gliscor.
I love Gliscor. It's in draft. It's a little One
Mhm.
and now you can run a couple different things, but Gliscor is
I
so
think
good.
if he had Terra Glyce score over Tenta, that would have been better.
I
Like
I could
Terra
agree with
Glyce,
that.
yeah, Terra Glyce score is a monster. Um, some other quirks I have with this team is it's like very fast with the exception of Ursaluna. Like Feraligatr isn't that fast, but like it's base 110, base 110, base 100, base 100, base 100, base 95. And then you have Regidrago, which is base 80, I think. Feraligatr base 79, something like that, and then Ursaluna base 50.
Yeah, I will say thank God you have a really good spinner in Tentacruel when you have an Ogrepon Hearthflame.
Yeah. And
That's
the thing
like
about
that's
remember
a
we were saying
necessity.
you need support spinners and so forth. Tentacruel doesn't need support. This man just comes every week
Someone said this
with
team gets bodied by ice types. That's very true.
yes it does.
This
Ice
team
and
is
Fairy. I don't think he is Fairy resist is Tentacruel and Heartflame, and Tentacruel can Terra. So if
Jirachi.
you
There's
Terra,
Jirachi.
oh yes, I forgot. I didn't totally overlook Jirachi. Yeah, ice types actually Bolt Beam destroys his team.
Yeah, I mean Bolt Beam destroys most teams, but I think this team is really
No
weak
man,
to it.
this team is specific.
This is a different type of weak to it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Bolt Beam just run through this team. Honestly speaking,
yeah. I don't
uh,
know.
I'm not sure. The weaknesses are very very obvious. Um, he, uh, hmm.
Gliscor, Salamence, Regidrago.
He has very good defensive options. I'm not gonna lie. Tentacruel, Jirachi, and Ursaluna, as well as
Yeah,
Gliscor. Like Ursaluna just needs max HP, max attack, and it has base what 114 HP, 115 defense, and 90 speed F, something like that. Let me just double check that real quick.
something like.
So it has base 130 HP, 105 defense, and 80 speed F. The money is
The cool
very
for
tight.
Yeah.
Jirachi base 100 across the board. It's an encore whoosh bot, which is very good. When it comes to a team like this, if you encore it into the right, if you trap them on into the right move, you can get away with the win easily.
Yeah, what
If you
does
trap,
Feraligatr
let's
do for this team even? That thing confuses me.
yeah, I think I don't know why Farligator is there.
Is it supposed to be like a ice resist or something? Yeah, this team's ice weakness is really bad.
It's probably is just there for the ice resist.
Oh, it's bad against Dragon too.
Mhm.
And Dark.
Um,
It doesn't have no Dark resist, 2 Dark weeks. Ghost,
Yeah, it doesn't have
Ghost
Dark
does
Resist.
pretty
It doesn't
well
have a
against it.
flash.
This team
Yeah,
has
you
some
need a
pretty bad type weaknesses.
Yeah, I think if he doesn't even have Terra Ogre Pawn either.
No.
Which I think would have helped because it would have been a pure fire type. Um which would help as well with the ice weakness. That's what I'm referring to.
Mm.
Because you get the pure fire type ice resist, you get the tentacle ice resist and the Feraligatr and Jirachi. So that 4 ice resist if he had Terra Ogre Pawn, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can run Terra Fire and stuff on like Tentacruel to resist ice,
Yeah,
but
it
then
could
you're
probably
relying on your Terras, and that's.
Yeah, it probably could be Terrafire Latios a lot of games because it has the ground immunity.
Yeah.
Um, but then what does he do for Bolt Beam? He only has Ursa Luna really, right? Because if he Terras Latios into any type that is not ground or dragon or grass, he doesn't resist electric.
Yeah.
Salaman sits neutral by electric, and uh, I don't see Regidrago and Latios going to the same game.
I feel
That's
like this
something
is. Yeah, I feel like this is a C tier team for me.
Yeah, I think so as well.
I'm not a big.
Um,
Yeah, I think this team has some glaring weaknesses.
Like, it
And we
has
didn't even
some
talk
really
about. Yeah.
good elements,
Yeah.
right?
Like,
It has some really good elements, but
it's missing. It's lacking in a couple of things. It's got some hypothetically really strong offense, but I just feel like there's definitely some notable weaknesses here that are very
I think,
take advantage
like,
of.
Tentacruel, Latias, sorry. You see, Tentacruel, Latias, and Ursaluna, I think are really good on this team specific.
Yeah, I just don't like Regidrago.
Like,
I don't like Feraligatr. There's a
I don't
couple of
like
mons I just don't
Feraligatr, I
get.
don't like Regidrago either. I think if you got a cheap steal type, probably even Tinkaton, over Jirachi, right? Swap out Regidrago for something else. Mm,
You can make
probably
this
a
team.
it could have worked because, as I said, Ursaluna is there's nothing that takes two hits from Ursaluna.
Yeah.
Like Ursaluna can come in, get its flame orb, and then start wreaking havoc on everything.
All right. Yeah. So with that, I think we can move on to the Maui masks. I think there's enough said.
Yeah.
So the masks. This is
C-bar 0.
yeah, C-bar 0. So this is a Spectrier team. We have not seen a Spectrier team yet, but we do see the return of Sneasler now. This is not a team based around terrain. We do have Thwacky for the Sneasler option, but that's really it.
I think just there, just in case he has a good matchup.
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
mostly
I
you're
don't
going to be seeing Sneasler as just like a Terra offensive
White
threat.
Turd or Focus Sash or Ear Balloon. I think stuff like that is gonna be more common.
Yep, but just still good.
I see 2 months here that I haven't seen much recently in today's meta. Moltres Galar and Rotom Wash.
I mean, I like Rotom Wash actually. This is definitely something I was considering drafting myself. I always have liked. I didn't get it in the end, but it's a really good option just because it's a good Willow supporter. I always like Willow support. I think that's really good in draft. I like.
Honestly, I think Rotom Wash is overrated in draft. I think the best Rotom form in draft is Rotom Heat.
Yeah, I really like Rotom Heat in draft.
I almost made top cuts with Rotom Heat in Smoke and Winter Season.
Rotom Heat's fun in draft because of that 4x fire that 4x ground resist going goodbye bye.
So many resist. People sleep on Rotom Heat.
People do sleep on Rotom Heat. Hey, shocking that my bars are fighter because I Rotom Heat.
Right?
Yeah.
Ground resist, bar, mold breaker, and gravity. It resists fairy as well. What other types did I miss? Ice.
It's so good.
Like,
it's really good.
So
But
good.
all right, so ignoring all that, let's talk about this team for a minute here. Yeah. So Spectrier is obviously really scary plus Sneasler. That's like one of the scariest special physical combos I think I've ever seen. And Garchomp's always going to be good in draft. It's versatile.
And honestly, I think Garchomp is going to be more of a tank chomp on this team because he doesn't have that much bulk. Sorry, I lied.
This team's got plenty of bulk.
He has Rotom Wash, Metagross, and Diancie.
Yeah, even Moltres Galar can be like Roost. No, I don't think it gets Roost. I think it relies on Rest.
Without Terra, I don't think it can be as bulk.
Yeah. I like what this team has to offer. I really do.
Like Spectre, Sneasler, and Cinccino, they have perfect, I think, speed. Speed coverage.
I really like the Terra Cinccino here. This is one of my favorite usages of just a random low tier Terra. I think it provides just a little bit of something you have to worry about. You might not expect it because you're probably expecting Terra Sneasler, but let's say he decides to go the Thwacky route one week. What if in grassy terrain you were Terra Grass Bullet Seed?
Yeah, Bullet Seed.
Like
Technician.
Loaded dice. Yeah, like I don't know. Like that's pretty good.
It is. I kind of really like Cinccino here as well. It helps his speed tiers a lot.
It's a knockoff user. I'm pretty sure it gets knockoff.
And it gives him removal. It's his only removal, but it gives him some removal.
Oh yeah, Tidy Up. I forgot it gets that. Like I said, and I don't think this team necessarily needs removal. I think this team's fine without it.
I wouldn't say that per se.
I mean, Moltres Galar has to worry about it, but I mean, most of his team just resists Stealth Rock.
No, the thing about it is Sneasler is gonna be Terra in 95% of matches.
True.
So who's to say I don't just rock up with T-Spikes and force Sneasler into a Terra?
That's true. This team could.
Or Garchomp is gonna be even the Cinccino that we have.
This team could definitely be slightly weak to T-Spike is something that we could talk about. That's definitely there. I just want to check to make certain Tina gets knocked off.
He has lots of options for hazards, and he has one of the best spin blockers as well. Because it just block spin comes in and can shadow ball. If you don't have a good dark type or a normal type, what are you going to do when Spectre comes in?
Yeah. So we'll get to Hit Sucks later, but said not counting his team, he thinks this is one of the scariest pools. Or scary? Did he see scariest teams in the division? Yes, he thinks this is the scariest team in the division, besides potentially his own.
It is very
I can see it.
Offensively.
Yeah.
I think it's very scary offensively. But when it comes to it's very good defensive as well. But it can't win a long run. It can't win in the long run if T-Spikes are up.
Yeah, I think T-Spikes is something that could potentially shut this team down. That is something to worry about because Tidy Up on
And that
Cinchino is a bit of a weird option.
yeah, and that kind of forces him to run Cinchino more often than I think he would like.
I mean, it depends on the matchup because,
Yeah, because like if someone has a good T spiker, because I'm not seeing a lot of T spikers in this
yeah,
division.
we didn't even talk about it with the Magnazones too. Once you Terra Tentacruel, you have no grounded poison there too. Same deal.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, honestly, I don't think he's ever gonna tear a tentacle.
and there's no grounded poison on that team.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's no
yeah, there's no grounded poison on. So the T Spikers in the division, I'm looking. It's Clodsire, it's
odds
Iron
are
Moth,
gonna be
it's
crazy.
Clodsire, and it's Iron Moth. I think that's it.
Yeah, yeah, and more often than not, he's not gonna run bulky Iron Moth. But Kodzai is gonna go crazy actually.
Yeah, Clodsire, Michael Quick. But anyways, yeah. So T Spikes are something that could definitely harm this team, but I don't think this div is super high on T Spikes, so I think that's okay. This team's so T Spikes is the team's main weakness. Do we see any other glaring weaknesses here?
Let me check. The speed seems impeccable because he has, as I said, he has base 30, base 130, base 120, base 110, base 102. Then it goes to Rotomosh, which is what, 86?
That sounds about right.
Yep. There seems to be a small gap there because if it was 87, it wouldn't. So anything like base 101, which is a very rare speed tier.
Yeah.
Yeah, only base 101 is an issue for him, but that's like a very rare speed tier per se. Then he has Metagross, which I think is very slept on in draft. Man, this man can do everything. He can run physical or special. It has base 90 special attack, but its special moves are so good. It gets Meteor Beam.
It gets Meteor Beam? Oh, I didn't know that.
Meteor Beam.
I feel like you're giving away secrets.
Yeah, Glasgow gets T-Spikes too. Yeah.
Oh, Gliscor's a really good T-Spiker. I kind of forgot about that. That's good. That's good.
That's why I said if you had Terra Glasgow, that team would have been way more threatening.
Yep, I agree.
So yeah, I think C-Bar's team is very good. I think I'd put it in the middle of B. Currently,
I
just don't see. I don't like his fairy type. That's the only thing. Personally, I don't like the NC. I don't like the NC overall, but
I like DNC in draft a lot. I think DNC is slept on in draft.
That one's so hard to get going. Like he has to set up Trick Room and then get the weakness policy and survive at the same time.
It can do some more minor things that can just allow it to take control of early game. Type weaknesses, this team, Ice is slightly good and Water is good. That's kind of what I see. But that's, I mean, both manageable. Red and wash.
Yeah, because he has a lot of I was looking at him and saying he has a grown weakness thing, but he has 3 resist. Admittedly,
he's fine
might
this
bring
round, I think.
Yeah, he might bring all 3 of them to any game. Throcky, Rotomosh, and Moltres Galar because they have completely different roles.
Yeah.
So I do see him potentially bringing all 3 of them to some game.
All right, we could discuss maybe exactly where it goes with the tier list. I'd say B is fine for now. Like I said, we're doing the tier list at the end. I'm just kind of writing down the tiers because it keeps on resetting on us. So this is the masks
to this server.
Yeah. All right. Galactic Velocideus.
Yes.
You got Velvin's team here. I love that. I kind of like that nickname. Velvin's kind of cool. I like that. We got the Sun team.
He does. Remember, I said every. Wait, there are 2 weather teams in this.
There's two weather teams in my division too.
Oh wow! As I said,
mine's like half weather. We'll get to that.
I think 3 divisions have weather. I'm not sure if all of them have weather.
Yeah. Okay, so we have. Did the first team have 2 weather teams too? Did they not? Did they have?
Tyranitar. There was a weather team.
There was a Sands team. Was there any other? Yeah, no, it was a pair of terrain teams. That's what it was.
Yes.
Oh no, there was one terrain team. Whatever. That's fine. So we see the Lando T Terra, which is interesting. We see Hoopa and Bound Terra, which I've seen twice.
Yeah, those are very interesting. He was saying that I'm not sure if it was him or the other person got Hoopa Unbound that it's a steal, and I said I'm not sure about.
It was the other person who said it was a steal because they're in my division.
I'm still not sure about Hoopa being a steal. it looks good. It looks so good on paper, but it never lasts in an actual.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, we'll see. So this team, I see Walking Wake and Torkoal, and I see Hisui and Lilligant. I love Hisui and Lilligant and Sun because you don't have to run Hustle.
Yeah, and what? Honestly, I think he should have gotten Venusaur. It would have been better for his team personally,
Ah,
because he gets the grounded poison type, and
I like the
and
grounded poison type angle. I don't mind the fact that he added a physical Sun Sweeper.
yeah, I do think he's okay physically, right? Because he has Hooper and Landros, two physical ones that there's nothing really that switches
Hoopa's
into them.
mixed, but yeah.
Yeah, Hooper's base 160 attack and 170 special attack.
Jeez, man.
Yeah, this it that's what I'm saying. It looks so
It
good
looks
on
so
paper.
good, but it's just never here. Hello,
Just
people.
never living hits.
Alright, chat.
Um, it just never living hits. I love Landor's Theory and Terror.
Yep, that's a
I
fun
think
one.
do so much. Like even just Terra Ground, it looks incredible coming off of a base 145 physical attack stat. Terra Ground Earthquakes just shred, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
I mean, this team's got we got some cool defensive options. Porygon 2 is always a little bit of a weird one, but it's not a
Yeah.
bad option. And Corviknight's cool defensively, obviously. I don't know about Comfey outside of Terra. Jolteon's always going to be good. It's nice and fast, which I like.
I think Compe is always like you should always have it in contention for late game sweep or mid game sweep. Once it sets up two calm minds, it's kind of hard to get it to stop. Get it to stop really. It's very hard to kill because two calm minds make draining kiss effectively two shot everything.
I've heard Hoope. It's someone saying in chat, Hoope AV is good. Hoope AV is always good. I mean, it's
Yeah.
even good in OU.
It is Hooper AV but that's the thing. Like Hooper with AV, it generally wants to be a bit slower, right? And
Yeah.
you have to invest in HP and special attack or HP and physical attack, whichever dominant. But it still loses to physical attacks.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, the thing is, like, you have
Probably
Corviknight for physical
best-
attacks, and if we're talking about speed, you've got, like, Walking Wake and Sun.
I think its best terror is probably Ghost.
Ghost is a good Terra. What I will say is, you know, despite whatever weaknesses you could say about Terra Hoopa, I actually think this team does a really good job of covering them.
Yeah, Torque is very good physically defensive,
And
as
so
well as
is,
Corbin.
yeah, Corviknight. I feel like this team, if anything,
even
Hoopa is really scary on this team because this team covers for it really well and allows it to thrive. I think it's well
My-
built in that
My
aspect.
only issue with this team is he doesn't have as much sun abusers as I'd expect or like to see, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
I do think probably getting Porygon is 6 points. I do think there are like other sun abusers he could have gotten.
like a low tier
I
Sun
do
abuser, I
think
could
any
see that.
Sun team- I do think any Sun team should always get Walking Wake because it's the only water type that can work on your Sun team.
I think if you're really focusing on the Sun aspect of your team, you have to go Walking Away.
But I do think Venusaur would have been a better fit over Lilligant, in my opinion. Because if he got Venusaur over Lilligant, he probably could have gotten like Shift Tree or another physical attacker over Porygon too.
Yeah, alright, so I'm looking at type weaknesses here. This division just seems to have a consistent theme where ice is good versus them.
Yeah.
This team has a bit of ice weaknesses.
Right. He's dry against in this division against this team specifically looks Bundle looks insane.
Bundle looks
against this.
insane against this team. And Terra Fairy is also solid versus this team.
Yeah.
Um,
Like Bundle just coming in, and I think that's his first opponent, the Bundle team. Just Bundle coming in and just clicking freeze dry or hydro
This
pump.
team also doesn't exactly have the best way of dealing with opposing fire types, so it can opposing Sun
Yeah,
Sweepers could just come back for this team.
Yeah, Gimme was saying like, even though Corv is good physical defensive, the Sun really hurts it.
The Sun does
Because-
hurt it. I see that in chat. Yeah, someone's saying that in chat too. Yeah.
Yeah, any fire type that comes in or amount of good fire type coverage comes in the Sun, just decimates Corv, even though it's probably one of his best defensive pieces.
Yes. So I mean, this team's. I don't exactly know how good some of the ladder mons fit in with this team. It's definitely a bit of an odd team. I don't know about all the fits, but having said that, I do like I like some of the stuff I'm seeing here.
I do. His team is naturally very slow, though.
Yeah,
Has
it does kind of rely on the sun to
oh,
get
sorry,
going.
Jolteon. But Jolteon is
Jolteon does,
very
yeah.
reliant on Terra.
Jolteon
Is
can't
very
come every
reliant.
week.
That's a big issue as well, right?
It cannot
That
come
gives
every
him a
week.
ground weakness.
Yeah,
Um,
no ground weakness. This team doesn't care. This team's got Elegant and two good flying
Elegant
types.
isn't a really resist.
Yeah, but
Is that
you have core of Lando T. You're fine.
yeah, that's kind of true. So I'll give him that one.
Yeah.
Jolteon, but Jolteon just lacks coverage in my opinion. Without
Jolteon lacks
Terra,
coverage. Porygon
what does
2
he
is
do?
also a good option to like everything that isn't a fighting type.
Yeah.
Like
If
Porygon 2
Porygon
could just
could teleport, I would have said it's probably a really good option on this team.
yeah. I
'Cause
think it gets Baton Pass.
It does. I'm
It
not
might
sure.
get Baton Pass. I can look.
Like Sunny Day teleport would have been so good.
It doesn't get Baton Pass actually. Thought it would have. Okay.
I think probably if you got a prankster man, one of those low tier prankster man that can be a secondary sunsetter,
That would have been cool.
yeah, I think that would have helped a lot too. So he's very T Spike's weak because he only has what 2 months are immune to T Spike. So I'm gonna say it has very good qualities. I'm gonna
Yeah.
put it at the top of C maybe. That's where I think it should go.
Yeah.
What about you?
I could say C for this team. Yeah, I could go with that. So far we think that Pool A is a little stronger in terms of the teams we've seen.
Yeah, on average, I think Pool A. But remember what I was telling you. On average, Pool A has more players with higher draft experience.
Yeah, there were some
So
good
that's
teams in
something.
Pool
So
C.
what
saw
I
too.
took into consideration when the thing I put into consideration when creating the pools is I generally mix players with lower experience in a pool with so I'd only put one experienced player in every pool that is full of lower experienced players. So pool B and C only has one or two player with more draft experience, while
Gotcha.
pool A and D has a higher skill gap between them, right?
Gotcha.
However, this is just a learning curve for Circuit 1 because after Circuit 1 ends, everybody is getting put mixed up, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah,
we're
guys, if
gonna
you're just
see
joining
how
the
well
stream, if you're just joining the stream in the middle here, this is going to be 3 different circuits in the same league, so we will be doing this video 2 more times throughout the course of this league. And I will be streaming, I don't know if anyone will be joining me, we'll see. I will be streaming a watch together of every week, including my own set, and that's how we'll discuss it. But yeah. Alright, so with that...
Yeah, weather setters like... Sorry, give me one saying
Yeah, sure.
Pelipper is better as U-turn, but weather setters that have pivot in general are better. That's why I prefer Ninetales on Sun Team. Because it does get baton pass, and any league where baton pass is legal, it's a very good mod.
Yes. Okay. So with that, I think... Oh, you know what? This team does have Rapid Spin on Torkoal. I kind of forgot about. And Defog. They have 2 spinners.
He does have 2 removal options.
Yeah, okay. So with that, let's go on
Yeah.
to the Victini Heat here.
Give me his team. Give me
this team. So we've got Iron Bundle as a Terra Captain to lead off. Then we got
Yep.
Pelipper and Archaladon. So starting that Rain Core. You've got
That Rain Core
you got
is
Clodsire, which is a really good bulk option. You've got Raging Bolt, which is also popular in Rain Cores. A Terra Floatzel, which is a cheap rain option. A Galarian Wheezing, which is an interesting way of handling opposing weather. A Grimmsnarl, which could set up screens to help boost the team. And then a Bramblegast, which is kind of just there to help round everything out.
I think so. Actually, I helped with the last 3 picks on this team. So Gimme was saying he was coming to me saying a little more experienced players input, and I was like, your team looks really nice so far. Just from Bundle to Floatzel, it's insane.
So good.
Right?
This team's ridiculous.
From Bundle to Floatzel, it is insane. I was like, yo, you did a very, very good job at one of your first drafts, right? So I was like, the only issue I see with your team is removal.
And we grabbed Defog.
And I said, yo, look at the board. I'm like, Wheezing is there, and wheezing is very good for a team because neutralizing gas plus defog actually synergizes with his team well. As you said, it can cancel out other weathers if needs be, if it comes in at the same time. It can absorb T spikes, which Cloud is there as well, and it's a very good physical defensive mon. Like nothing can really break wheezing that on the physical side in one hit.
I agree. I think
So
Glare and Weezing's an extremely underrated draft mon. I think that's a very good draft pick.
with the access to Will-O-Wisp and Defog to support his team, I think it was a really good pickup. And then I
I
was
think so
like,
too.
yeah, and then Grimsnarl is there, as you said. It's a mon that helps provide screen support. It also provides prankster range, so it can be a second range
That's an
center.
interesting little guy. I like that. Yeah, the other thing I really like, just like stating here about Galarian Weezing is the fact that literally all three of its abilities could come. I mean, I don't know about Misty Terrain for this team, but like,
No, it doesn't. Doesn't get weather.
uh,
It doesn't get weather, unfortunately.
that's okay.
Yeah,
I
but
still
then
think it's
you have
good. It's a really good enabler. It's still such a good
Yeah.
enabler.
Exactly. Like just parting shot alone enables his team because getting a parting shot off and getting into something like Raging Bolt, what's gonna stop it from just clicking
Jesus Christ, bro!
what's that called?
Even this team
Thunder.
is weak to ice. Why is every team weak to
Yeah.
ice in this division?
He does have a ice weakness because he has Clawed, Bolt, Bramble Gas, and yeah, only Pelipper is not weak, it's neutral, but it does take freeze dry damage. However,
The
I don't think you're gonna ever see
freeze dry.
Clodsire, Raging Bolt, and Bramble on the same team.
No, you won't. And talking about freeze dry,
Yeah.
the best freeze dryer in the league is right here. It's Iron Bundle
That's
right
one of
on
the best
top.
freeze dry. Let me check if there's a Curum. There's no Curum either, so he's not worrying about freeze dry. He has the best one in the game. And guess
Unless
what?
now
He
that
can-
Terra Articuno is gonna go crazy.
Oh yes, Articuno gets freeze.
Terra Articuno is gonna go crazy.
And I have something to say about that team because that team is
We'll get there. We'll get there.
I actually think this is one of the most solid teams overall in
This
the
team's
draft.
really good.
Oh, you talking about the Articuno? I'm talking about the bundle. It's probably one of the most solid teams. There
I'm
is
talking
in
about the bundle team too. Like I think this team's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And then like getting the priority with Raging Bolt, getting Floatzel in rain. Like we made a blunder when we didn't put much tax on Floatzel.
Yeah.
Like we gave Rain a free breaker right there.
There's
Just
a rain
choice
team in
ban-
my league that also has Floatzel.
Yeah, like just choice band wave crash. This man is terrible.
That team is so... Yeah. Hold on, I'm doing a quick calc here of pure curiosity. Terra
I can't wait to see Archaluda just coming in the rain.
Yeah. Oh, and let's give it choice specs just for funsies.
Which one? Archaluda?
I'm doing a bundle calc really quickly. I want to see.
That Terra Ice bundle is insane, I would say, because I would just Terra Ice choice specs freeze dry because I have very good removal with Wheezing. Like just remove. Oh, another thing, if there was a golden go in this tier, it couldn't stop Wheezing. It could just defog.
Dude, a max defense, like a max Rotom Wash, still takes like half from... Oh, wait, hold on. I forgot to put Rain back up. All right, dude, a max Rotom Wash still takes 64 to 76 from a Choice Specs Iron Bundle Terra Water Hydro Pump in the rain.
And I'm pretty sure it takes about the same from Floats as well.
Yeah,
Like,
from Floatzel if it was max on Fizz.
Yeah.
That's the crazy part. Do you know, like, between Terra Water Hydro Pump and Terra Water Wave Crash,
Crash?
between Floatzel and Bundle, you have so much to
Load.
prep for. Like, this
I'm just
this team's
like-
insanity.
it's insane just prepping for the offensive alone. Like bundle Archaludon and Raging Bolt. You have to prep special. And if you prep special, Floats just comes in and wave crash everything.
Floatzel was 0 Terra, 1-hit KOs Fizdef Corv. What? Oh my god. And this team's got Raging Bolt. And it's got Clodsire and defense. Yo, this might be the best team we've gone over.
That's what I'm saying. This team is Ridiculous.
This team has 2 removal, because Brambleghast is sneaky spinner.
Yes, it gets rapid spin, and it's a spin blocker as well.
Yeah, no,
So
Brambleghast is a little
like,
sneaky guy too. I used him in
yeah,
one of my
and
first
it's in
leagues.
rain. So when I was suggesting it to him, I'm like, yo, it's in rain. Bramblegas is grass type. You just lost one of its weaknesses. You can give Bramblegas Wind Rider. I'm not sure if I'm leaking anything, but you can give Bramblegas Wind Rider, and it's basically immune to flying type hits.
Yeah, no, I've done that. I ran what was it? The Ghost Berry, I forget exactly what it's called. On Brambleghast, and I used it to 1v1 a Dragapult in my first ever league. Like, this little guy's kind of crazy.
Yeah, like he brings this in rain, gives it Wind Rider, gives it Poltergeist, and Rapid Spin. There's nothing stopping this little thing. It's crazy. It's such a surprise mod.
Yeah, I know, right? It's crazy. It's so, yeah. All right, so what do we think? Is this like the top of A, or is this potentially our first S tier team? What are we gonna do with this guy?
Probably S. I think it's probably our first S
All
tier
right,
team.
yeah, let's go. So this is the Heat. Okay, the teeny Heat. All right.
It's gonna be so funny because this division has what we were saying has a lower skill gap compared
And
to
then
the
there's
others.
just this team.
And there are gonna be 2 S tier teams in this division. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure there's gonna be 2 S tier teams in this.
There
division.
might be 2. We'll have to get to that. All right, so let's go with the Raging Bolts first before we get to
Yeah.
the Dragapult Valiant team.
The British found the Raging Boats. Unfortunately, they didn't get their mascot.
Unfortunately, it was picked by the first team.
But the first thing I noticed when I look at this team was 3 fire
You
types.
do like your team, Gemini. We do.
Sorry, 4 fire types. That's the first thing I noticed when I looked at this
That
team.
is there is 4 fire types.
And there's only 2 mons immune to earthquake. He has ground. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ground weak mons.
Who Terra's on this team?
Iron Moth and Gudra.
And Guja. Okay. Cool. So this is definitely a team. I'll have to look more at it in a minute. I'm just gonna quickly do some inputting some stuff so I can get some views on it. If you want to speak on it for a minute.
Like, I think this team is insanely weak to rocks. Insanely weak to rock, insanely weak to ground. It's insanely weak to fighting, and water.
This team is, yeah, I don't know. All right, so Garganackle is interesting, but it doesn't have Terra this time around.
Yeah, so that's it. That's the thing, right? I think Terramoth is very good on this team, right?
I love Terramoth. Terramoth is
And
always a
he's
really good mon.
fastest mon as well. I'm pretty sure he just chose all the mons he loved when he was making this one. Because having how many rock sweet mon, Zapdos, Rotom, Incineroar, Iron Moth, that's 4 rock weak mon, and he has only 2 rock resist.
Tyranitar, Gastrodon. Tyranitar's a weird one. I don't know about that fit.
No, Tyranitar isn't a rock resist. It's Heatran and Gastrodon.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying Tyranitar is like a weird fit for the team in general. I don't know if I get it.
I'm not sure why he got Tyranitar, but it's probably to enable Garganackle.
That's the only thing I can really think of, yeah.
Yeah, it's just there, but it's very bad for everything else.
Yeah,
because
this team's... Alright, so yeah.
Rotom really doesn't appreciate it.
I'm checking
he's
here.
probably gonna-
Yeah,
Huh?
Water, Fighting, Ground, Rock.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Those 4 types are insane against this team. But I'm not gonna lie, he has a very good fighting type resist. Zapdos, probably one of the best fighting type resist out there. Bar Moltres. But this man just coming in on your moves and paralyzing you, it's probably done so. I do like his defensive options. I'm not going to lie. Like, when you look at it on paper, it's very bad typing wise. Has a lot of weaknesses. But Gudra can take any special hit.
Passive Weather Control is potentially a reason for Tyranitar.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah, because because he chose it so late, and there are 2 other
weather teams. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Maybe that's why he took it.
I mean, he has a lot of weather counters already, though. He has Flash Fire for Sun. He has Storm Drain for Rain, and Storm Drain works for...
Flash. Yeah, he has Storm
Yeah.
Drain, I'm not sure why. And the Sun team can't beat him. If anything, he's way better in the Sun team.
Yeah,
Like he just needs Terra Fairy and Iron Moth, and what that Sun team can't touch him.
I love Terra Fairy Iron Moth. I love Terra Ground Iron Moth. Like, Iron Moth is definitely going to be the highlight of this team, in
I
my
really
opinion.
love Iron Moth on this team.
Iron Moth on this team is really cool. I just wish it was picked not after 3 fire types.
I do think drafting 2 steel types first, which are very fighting weak.
I mean, Gojo
I'm not
Terra.
sure. There are a lot of mons that overlap on role on this team. Is my issue.
Yeah,
right?
there's also no defog, no rabbit spin.
No removal, and his team is very weak to
To rock, to stealth rocks. It's like this team is extremely weak to stealth rocks, and
like Moth terroring, because Moth is terroring 90% of the times, means that you have no poison type.
yeah.
Like Garg is probably safe, Heatran is safe, but what happens when Incineroar comes in, or Tyranitar, or Gastrodon, and you need Gastrodon to be alive? Like Gastrodon has to come every single week.
Yeah, also freeze dry. I'm realizing on the rain team beats Castro.
Yeah, like Bundle runs through this team.
Yeah.
He probably has to Terragrass, Hisui, and Gudra. Honestly, if he's gonna go against.
No, that doesn't beat a bundle. That's just Ice Beam fodder. You have to like.
But he can't Terra anything else. He probably has to stay the same type then.
He probably has to go Booster Moth and Terra Grass Energy Ball.
Yeah, he has to use Terragrass Moth and keep Gudra. I don't think he wasted his Terra on Gudra. He should not Terra Gudra.
I don't mind Terra. I don't know. I think Terra and Garganacle's cooler.
Yeah, Garganacle or Rotom. Like those two ones needed the Terra more.
No, I could definitely agree with that. Yeah. I'm just looking at this team. It's not my favorite. I think this is C.
Yeah, I think it's the bottom of C.
Bottom of C. Yep.
It's probably borderline B as well.
Yeah, this is not a great team in my opinion. But it's obviously one of their earlier times drafting, and they will have chances to redraft if this doesn't go great.
Yeah, they'll have 2 other drafts, but as we said, it's a learning curve, and we hope they reach out, because if they watch the VOD for this or if they're in the live, I hope they'll reach out and be like, hey, let's plan for circuit 2, you know?
Of course. Do your best at this point. You know, the way that these circuits work, if you have one bad circuit, you have a really good circuit 2, get some bonus points and everything, you could make it pretty far.
And I think like how it's set up, even if you do bad, you can still get bonus points, which is very good, because even if you lose, you can still have mons that get 10 kills, right?
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, like if you read the rules, you can get 2 extra points every circuit, and if it's your mon that has 10 kills or more.
So maybe just focus on getting as many kills with Iron Moth every game. Like
just rock up points. The only caveat to that is if you have already accumulated 16 points, you can't get any more bonus points. But like just bring Terra Iron Moth every game and get your 20 kills, so you're guaranteed at least 1 point, right? Because if you look at standings, you'll see how much points each position get. You're guaranteed 1 point, so getting those 2 extra points in, giving you 3 points, making you tied with 3rd place is ridiculous. I think you should just try to get as many points as you can.
Alright, so I think with that, we can move on to the final team in this division, which is, we have kind of alluded to it a couple of times here. This is the Dragapult Valiant team.
Dragapult Valiant Iron Threads. This is the
what the hell, bro? This is the best Fairy Dragon Steel thing we have ever seen.
It's the best Dragon Fairy Steel core.
I hope this is never allowed again. I hope we learn from our mistakes.
I hope everyone learns and says Dragapult and Valiant should never be on the same team. Let's get one of them early, you know?
Yeah, I think the thing is that people want to try some other mons.
I think
and that is a fun appeal.
Yeah, there's a pool that has no Valiant.
Alright, my pool has no Valiant. Nobody chose Valiant in my pool.
No Valiant. That is very, very insane.
I had the option to take it, pick one. I took something else.
And there was even the grace period where people could have just swapped out their entire team and built their own Valiant.
Yeah, I thought about it, but I love my team. I think my team's fun. So
Yeah, this team is insane. Hitsu team, it's insane. I know it's not Hitsu X Hitsu because it's Japanese. It's like a Hunter parody thing.
Oh, gotcha.
Uh,
That's cool.
mhm. So it's Hitsu.
I'm
His
not a
team.
big fan of sticky webs on this team. Just gonna put that out there.
I think he has sticky webs there
Oh,
for
hold on. I'll be
Arcanine.
right back.
Alright. I love this team. Like, he has two of the best spinners in the game. Blastoise is so underrated, and people always just think it's like a shell smash, but it is not. It has rapid spin. Like, it's it. I don't think you can. Like, you're just gonna accidentally get a KO. That's how good it is. Like, you just have Valiant in the back, and then you're losing. You have Valiant left. They have 3 months, and you just bring in Valiant and get the 3 kills. I think that's how good this team is, and you even have Wish support Umbreon, right? And not a lot of persons has forfeited Wish support. Not a lot of people have looked at it, and Umbreon is probably one of the best Dark types out there. One of the best mid tier mons in general, right? With toxic Wish passing, with toxic wish passing, it has foul play to like just decimate physical attackers. I really love Umbreon right here, especially Umbreon with Dragapult, right? Umbreon, Dragapult, and Threads are very good because there's gonna be no fairy type that really breaks it. You also have Among Us, a regen spore bot. It's so good. Your fire water grass core is really nice. Hisuian, Arcanine, Blastoise, and Among Us. Among Us being the bulkiest of the three, and then you have Blastoise who can be bulky and offensive. Then you have Arcanine that can just have sash and head smash everything. I'm even forgetting to talk about freeze dry Articuno. Articuno is a mon that I think has a lot of potential. It's just boots. It's kind of item locked in my opinion. But you have really good spinners. You have Blastoise and Threads, and Blastoise gets pivot and Threads gets pivot. So if you spin and flip turn directly into Articuno, you get in Articuno for free, and then you can just Terra. I think Articuno is a really good addition to this team. It gives you that good ground resist or ground immunity. I think that's why you got it in the end because Among Us isn't that ground immunity, and Vikavolt is your only real ground immunity bar Articuno. So I don't think you're using Vikavolt for webs much. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think Vikavolt is gonna be coming to most games with Vakavolt is going to be coming to most games with probably even a choice specs or a life orb. Life orb Vakavolt plus Umbreon seems busted. Just giving Vakavolt life orb. Um,
Vikavolt offensively is a thing you could do.
yeah, I think Vakavolt is gonna be more offensive on this build. I think he just has it there for the ground immunity, realistically. Um,
That's fair, because I was gonna say I'm not exactly. I don't think webs are at all needed. You have literally like the two fastest mons in the
yes,
format.
Dragapult, yeah, Dragapult and Valiant. Like outspeed who? Like
And
literally
Shell Smash
Vakavolt.
Blastoise. This team is literally no. I'm not running speed versus this team. Like I don't have to deal with this team, but I wouldn't run speed.
Like literally Vakavo coming in with Life Orb and getting Wish support from Umbreon. What's stopping it? Vakavo has what base 145 special attack?
So
That man
these,
just
yeah.
comes in click, Thunderbolt, kills someone. It switches out into Umbreon. Umbreon wishes up wishes.
Umbreon's definitely got to be there for fire types too. This team's got a small fire weakness.
Yeah, I did see that. The thirds Vakavo Among Us, but he has Blastoise, and I do think Terra Articuno is gonna be water more often than not. I
I could
really
see
do.
that. He also wants to get Articuno in before rocks. Obviously, you can get rid of rocks with
He
treads,
has
but
two of
rocks are
the
good versus
best.
this team too.
He has threads and Blastoise, which Blastoise is very slept on as a spinner.
Yeah, Blastoise
Uh,
is a really good spinner. This I think he's got options.
yeah, and as I was saying, threads gets pivot, Blastoise gets pivot. He spins and pivots into Articuno. He comes in before Rock goes up.
That's right. Blastoise gets flip turn. Yeah, this is one of those teams I was talking about earlier where it's got some weaknesses, but it does a really good job of mitigating it.
Yeah.
And I
Um.
love knockoff on this team. Like
Yeah.
knockoff is so cool from Treads and
Threads just
Val.
knockoff. The only thing he doesn't have is T spikes, which Among Us would be OP if he got both T spikes and Spore, but he has
Yeah,
Spore,
he has
which
Spore, and I think T Spike's while good in this, like Amoongus is gonna be the grounded poison to beat opposing T Spike, so I don't think it's a major issue.
yeah, he kind of has a ground weakness, but that's why he picked Articuno last. That's why I was saying like he had to get Articuno in last because of that ground weakness. Barkavolt and Articuno being the real ground ones that switch into the ground type hits, right?
Yeah, I don't think ground. I saw someone try to say ground as a potential
He
weakness,
has
and
Iron Breath
ground. Yeah, it's good versus Treads and Arcanine, but here's the thing:
and
like
Arcanine.
you have Vikavolt,
And
which
he
is
needs
immune.
Valiant and Dragapult. But Vikavolt, that's what I'm saying. Like Vikavolt coming with a Life Orb, clicking Energy Ball, clicking Thunderbolt, clicking Bug Buzz, like it is so good.
Yeah, and Articuno's gonna Terra, so you're probably ground is definitely gonna be somewhat strong versus team. Though again, you could Terra Grass on the Arcanine Hisui,
I
as like we said,
personally,
it'll
I
flip
don't think
it.
Articuno is gonna Terra much. Like
I don't.
personally,
Yeah, you can see
I
Terra
think
Ground on the Arcanine, and I think you're
yeah,
okay.
I can see Terra Ground as well. Maybe if he needs it Terra Normal, because Terra Normal banded B speed, like. And this is what I'm talking about. Like Among Us on this team is such a glue piece, right? Because Among Us comes in and it forces prep.
It does force
No
preps.
matter
Like that's
it,
the other thing is that your ground types aren't safe because you have to deal with a Moongus. They can't switch in on the grass
yeah,
type move, and they can't switch in on Spore.
it forces prep. It can't switch in on poor. None of the ground types can switch in hard on spore. Because once it gets slept,
Yeah, once they get slept,
I
it is
really do
hard.
that. And
I
then
like this
like
team.
Polt doesn't like Valiant and Polt being two of the best draft mons ever and being both mixed can run either physical or special. You can't prep for this team.
Yeah. Do we think this team is as good as the Rain team?
Um, I'm not sure. I do think it probably is because the fact of the matter is you can't really prep for this team
Yeah. All right. So we'll put it
because
in S. We'll put it in S.
yeah, you have to prep for DD Polt and SD Valiant. You have to prep for Specs Polt, Karma and Valiant, right? You have to prep for Vikavolt, which is a very hard special hitter, and you have to prep for Arcanine, which is a very hard physical hitter. And then he has such good defensive pieces, Umbreon, right? Amoongus, Blastoise, and even Terra Articuno. I'm pretty sure this team is very hard. When you put this in your prep doc, it's gonna say you're I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. The prep doc's not gonna like you for this one. All right. So let's. I think with that, we got all we want for this sum. Seems very strong.
Yeah.
Let's go to Pool C. So this is yours.
This is the pool I'm in, and
This
for anyone wondering,
I really liked a lot of the drafts in this team.
mods don't moderate
Yeah.
in my pool. Let's quickly pull it up.
Yep. I got your. I got your pool.
All right, nice. Yes, I actually agree with you. Golden Fire got sniped from me, like literally round one. I really
Ah.
do like the teams in my pool. I think the teams in my pool, like they were like, let's drop competitively. Not saying other pools weren't, but the teams are way more balanced in my pool, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Could be pool D as well, but the pool that I'm battling in is way more balanced.
Yeah. So let's open up with the Seattle Shell Smashers. This is Junk World's team.
Yep.
I automatically see Chien-Pao and Great Tusk, and then Chien-Pao, Great Tusk, Terra Iron Moth, GG's.
Terra Iron Moth.
Yeah, like
Same. Right.
and then
Just look at his
yeah.
first 5 months, right?
Those first 5 mons, and then you add Aloe. It's like okay,
And
like,
then
you could
and then
literally
look at his
bring
last-
these 6
look at
mons.
his last-
Bring the first 6 mons every week. Like it doesn't matter.
Aloe, Bronzan, and Klefki, such good defensive mons, right? Klefki screens, spikes, right? Trick
Yep.
shenanigans. Bronzan, it just sits on everything. It can set up screens as well. It can provide some offensive pressure with future sight, gyro ball, Alamomola, whoosh support for everything. Like he has a regen core as well,
Yeah.
which is insane.
Random
does have a
random
super
regen
speed
core is so
core.
fun.
He has a Fairy Steel Dragon core. He has the Fire Water Grass core as well. I think his team is really, really good. And
I
then
don't know.
having Raptor and Iron Moth, two good offensive ones on both sides of the spectrum. Like, oh my god.
I don't know. This team to me, yeah, Regen Core, Aloe, Trapple. Yeah, I don't know, man. This team's got all you want, right? I mean, you have some of the most.
Yeah,
You have two extremely potent offensive
yeah,
mons with pure
yeah.
like,
Two of the best physical attackers ever.
and one of the
Shinko and
best special attackers that you could get right now, which is that Terra Moth.
yeah, like literally Terramat is their base 140 special attack. Yo,
Yeah,
this one,
this one's
you.
crazy.
Then you have the Hydropper. Who's gonna switch into Fickle Beam when all three head hits?
I know. It's like this team's random spurts of offense is good. It's also got really good defense, as we said. That Aloe, Hydrapple, Clefable
Yeah,
defense core is
the
actually
table,
really strong with
nowhere for
Bronzong.
Fickle,
I like the Clef
nowhere.
Key edition. This team does not have any clearing. What? What's going on? Okay. Did I just leave and rejoin on accident?
Yep.
Gotcha. That's why that popped. I was so confused. Okay. Oh no, I'm gonna get DMCA'd. Oh no. But
Was it long
this
enough?
team's got no glaring weaknesses.
I don't think it does. Looking at it, it
Like
doesn't have.
in terms of like type weaknesses, it's got nothing.
The only thing you can say is hard into it is freeze dry. Like, um, freeze dry is very hard into his team. Hydrapo, Alumamol, a great Tuss, the Raptor, right? Bar Structure, Cantera. But he has very good answers as well with Bronzong. Bronzong just can come in and freeze dry. Like, what is anybody gonna do?
Yeah, I really like this team. I don't think much has to be said about this team. I think it speaks for itself.
My only issue with it is wait, how fast is it up there? 100, right?
Uh, Staraptors 100, Iron Moth 110, Xianpao
Yeah,
135.
I like its team. My only issue is that big speed gap between 110 and 135. Really, maybe if we got another 9-point mon that was 120. I'm not gonna lie, spending 9 points on Clef Key when you already have Bronzon and Clefable would be probably the only mon I don't like on this team.
Yeah, I could say that Klefki's the one mon that's a little.
Yeah, if you look at this team and be like, what's the weakest link?
It's
It's the one
Klefki.
that is.
It's the Klefki. Yeah,
It's Clef Key.
it's the Klefki. So yeah, maybe getting a little more speed with that. But then in terms of lower speed tiers too, he has Clefable, Hydrapple, Bronzong, so you can't exactly just bring.
Yeah.
You can't exactly just bring Trick Room versus team, which I like. Yeah, I think this is probably another S tier team.
Yeah, I think it's at the bottom of S tier, but it's probably up there.
Yeah. So this will probably be the bottom of this, but this team's just so.
Yeah, out of the
ripped.
three teams, there are only 3 teams in S tier, so being at the bottom is not bad. It's the
Yeah,
top
no,
three.
it's still a top 3 team. Although this is such a stacked division that we might have to rebalance our tiers at some point. But because I feel
don't
like half these teams are gonna reach S.
You mean like someone's gonna redraft them?
No, I mean I feel like we might have to like a couple of these guys might hit S because there's a lot of good teams here.
Oh
We'll
yeah,
see.
yeah. Well, there are a few more. Oh yeah, a lot of good teams in Pool C as well. Yeah,
I
we
really
might-
like your team, by the way.
my.
I
My
really
team is
like your
interesting.
team. I don't know, man. This team, it's another Valiant Treads team and Blastoise. They're back again.
Yeah, a surprising Hitsu and I had some very similar ideas.
And
when it
you have the
came
Glow
to-
King Kyurem, which you've seen before. Like you're a mix of some other teams, but I think you did it the best.
Yeah, I brought in. You see, when I saw I got a Valiant, Slowking, and Threads, I was like, wait, Kyurem is still on the board. I got Kyurem as my last pick. I
pick,
didn't do
yeah.
any trades in Grace, anything. This is my draft. As I would just draft it based on the trends I was seeing. Right, so I picked up Valiant because it fell to me, and I wasn't gonna make that Valiant fall to somebody else. So I got Valiant, and then Slowking. I was like, wait, I think I could use a Slowking. It's very good with Valiant.
It's very good with Valiant. I agree. I always have liked that.
And then I was like, I need a spinner. I was like, the best one is gone. Let me get his little brother. Let's get Thirds. I think I don't even know how much I can talk on my team without giving out insider, but you can go ahead. Talk. I'll try to summarize and not give out insider.
Yeah, so I'm gonna do a quick little thing here. So I'm currently inputting all the types and everything. And first of all, one of
I
the
don't
things
think I've
I
written
like about
message.
this team because it has a lot of the stuff that you want in a draft. Moltres I feel like is always better when you have a hazard removal mon. That's something I learned when I drafted Moltres without one in a low tier league.
Yep.
And
Funny enough, I have three
you have
hazard
three.
removal.
It is all spin, so ghost types are a little good in that case.
I don't think I'm worried about ghosts when I have knockoff and threads and knockoff
Yeah.
and blast.
Um, Alolan Persian is a nice little low tier Terra. I don't know if it's like the best mon of all time. You probably won't see it way too often, but it is something you have to at least have to worry about. You said it's one of those low tier prankster users, which is always going to be cool.
Not prankster. It's fur coat.
Oh, it's fur coat. This isn't a prankster guy.
No, it's not prankster. Alolan Persian.
Oh
Is
yeah, fur coat technician rattled. I see that now. Okay.
it's a sleeper pick because it gets parting shot, not prankster. It gets parting shot. It gets U-turn. It gets knockoff. It gets a lot of support moves.
Yeah, you do have 3 Fire Weak mons, but Blastoise and Moltres really mitigate that, so that's not something I'm super worried about.
And I have Slowking Galar. Honestly, like what fire type is gonna be hitting me? I have Slowking and Moltres.
Yeah, Slowking's a really good grounded poison absorber. You have both slight access to Stealth Rock and Spikes. You have, so that's all good stuff we want to be seeing.
Funny enough, you're never gonna see all 3 of my fire weaknesses on the same roster. I would never bring Ferrothor.
I don't think Ferrothorn Tread's coming the same matches like last. Exactly. Like, yeah. And then like, so you actually you have 3 good knockoff users, which I always like to see. Lots of pivots. Team's definitely got its modes of offense and defense, and obviously Iron Valiant at the head of that is always going to be a really strong pick. So this team is definitely one of the more balanced teams I think I've seen.
You have 2 at the ends. You have Valiant and you have Curem. Terra Curem is...
We didn't even talk about Terra Curem yet. Like, that's like the headliner of this team, and it's crazy because that thing comes in with that defense boost from Glow King, and then it's fine to drop it whenever it needs, once it needs that Terra to help boost its offense.
And that's the thing, like, you don't need to Terra Curem immediately. Curem can be both special or physical. I can bring DD one day, and then while I'm in the snow, I DD up because I have the defense buff, and then I Terra into a typing that beats your team, right? I can be Specs or Scarf special with Draco. Like, this team is insane. Terra Dragon Curem, Draco Meteor. What is switching in?
Yeah, and a Terra Ice on Curem is something that I've seen in OU quite a bit, which is interesting, and that's something that you could do to keep that defense boost from Glow King while also having stuff like Freeze Dry and Icicle Spear physically. Yeah, like I've seen like the DD mix sets with Freeze Dry is obviously cool. But you know, I'm looking at this team a lot, and I see so many cool things here. I really like this team. I think it's another S tier team. It's got a lot of speed. It's got some slower mons in Glow King and Fortress. The offense on the slower end isn't exactly there, so if there's one weakness, it's potentially Trick Room.
Physical breakers.
Yeah. And yeah, physical breakers outside of like Curem is something that you could also kind of be. I mean, Treads can physical break.
When I was building, I was like, maybe I could get more physical option, but I was like, Valiant is base 120, just like and Curem is base 130, right? And then I'm like, Threads is base 112.
Actually, both Valiant's attack's actually higher. It's got a 120 special attack. Both Valiant and Curem are 130 attack.
Yeah, 130 attack. So that's insane, right? Like, just bring CC on Valiant, because guess what? Steel types block Curem from clicking freeze dry. Run CC Valiant. What's gonna stop Curem?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think this team is really strong. Like I said, the only possible really thing I could see is that Trick Room, but I think this is another S tier team.
I also have my Trick Room counters as well. Slowking Galar, I have Fortress, which are very too much. People would say, why Fortress? Because Fortress doesn't die.
Fortress does not die. I've actually played a team with Curem and Fortress on it before, and I did get 6-0'd.
My God.
Just a fun fact. That was like a Palafin team too.
Yeah, Palafin and Curem are another good combination.
No, it's not. Okay, so oh no, I meant like I had Palafin. Like that was the problem.
Oh yeah, Palafin.
I had Palafin, so they kind of got walled. All right, so the next team I see here, we got the Toronto Iron Leaves. Rolling, Gouging Fire, Deoxys D, Muck, Moltres G, Prim, Comfey, Arch, Ogrepon, Palisand. This team
Yeah,
is bulky.
it is very bulky. My biggest strife with this team, he didn't pick rain setter.
No Rain Setter or no Sun Setter.
And no, I thought he was gonna go double weather, and I think he was. His last pick, I thought he was gonna pick up a prankster man and go double weather, right?
Yeah, I think that
So,
would have been a cool option, and you just don't see that.
but I think that's his major issue. I love Ogrepon Cornerstone. People don't sleep on Rockstar.
Yeah, I know.
People on Rockstar because guess what? Gouging Fire destroys any steel type that resists the rocks, right? He has
Mhm.
Primarina that destroys any ground types, and Ogrepon destroys ground types by itself, right? Just
Yeah.
Terra Ivory plus Power Whip, but there's no ground type that's gonna come in on this mod. Gouging Fire destroys the steel types, and Ogrepon just comes in and wins. I really like this offensive pressure of this team. It's just sad that Archaldon can't put on that offensive
I'm just
pressure.
realizing both Moltres and Moltres Galar were taking back-to-back picks. It's kind of interesting.
Oh yeah, that's that's pretty interesting too. I do think I like his offense. Like Montres Galar is what 120 special. Is it 100 and something special attack?
Moltres Galar is... I'm gonna check that in a second. It's got pretty high special attack. It has
Archaldon-
100. It's just 100. It has 125 Spadef is the big
Okay.
number.
Primarina, Moltres, and Archaldon are very good special attackers. Like Archel, that's what I'm saying. If he had something like Rain, because he's kind of forced to run Power Herb if he wants to use Electro Shot, right? Um, so he more than likely has to be running the body press set week in week out as compared to the Electro Shot spam where it's fully physical attack and fully special attack. But when it comes to like physical offense, Gouging Fire, Ogrepon, Cornerstone are such a very good player.
The other problem I have with this team, and this is only a problem in your division, is one Terra Captain.
Yeah, he only invested in Ogrepon, Cornerstone.
Couldn't at least get like a 0-pointer?
I think Palisand is. I think he could have started Palisand.
Yeah, like I don't get the point behind just not adding the extra option.
I think having the option because Ogrepon is so what is it called again? One-dimensional when it comes to like Terra. It doesn't
Yeah,
have any
this team is
option.
very... That's the thing. I don't think this team has much surprise factor, and it's weak to
Yeah.
ice, weak to ground, weak to fairy. Like this team doesn't have much to really surprise you with. I feel like
Yeah.
everything here, you know what's coming, and you know how to prep for it. I don't know about the fit of everything completely.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think unless he had a prankster mod. I don't think Archaldon and Gaugin fit on the same team. I would understand where
Yeah.
you can switch modes between rain and sun, which would be very interesting. But
This
seeing that he
is...
cannot do that,
Yeah, this isn't my favorite team.
yeah. Also, the Comfey plus Primarina.
Yeah, it's just... Yeah, I don't know. I don't know exactly how I'm feeling about this team.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
Yeah, I don't know. I just... It's hypothetically...
Yeah, hypothetically, it has some good mods.
It has a good fire... It has a good Fairy Dragon Steel. I'll give it that. I don't know. I feel like the thing is, I think a lot of these teams have a themed direction, and like a lot of these teams have some really strong options, and they play all around like these top tiers. And what those top tiers are gonna do is you have to worry about those top tiers, and that's the main thing you're gonna be focusing on. But they have so many good things that work around it that it becomes overwhelming. I think you're able to pretty... There's nothing here that the team revolves around. I think it's like pretty easy to just say, okay, this is my counter for this is my counter for this.
And also, someone noted there's no hazard control, so rocks
yeah.
go crazy. Because once Ogrepon loses its sturdy in base form, it's fair game.
I agree.
Because you can't freely set up anymore.
Yeah, I just think this team is I don't know. I feel like this team doesn't have too many dimensions to it. I think a lot of teams have a lot going on, and I think
Mhm.
this team is a
Only surprise
really, this team
factor.
would be a really good team in a lot of draft leagues, but with the stuff that we allowed in ours,
Yeah.
I don't think it's up
I
to
think
stuff.
the only surprise factor in this team is the autistic X because he can do everything.
Yeah, the fact that literally his only Terramon in a league where there's open Terra, and
There's
obviously
yeah,
Terra Preview, in a league where
yeah,
you can choose any of the 19 available Terra types.
yep, and he
Ogerpon has
can
one.
almost every single month, bar six or so, I think.
Yeah,
Like
every other team we've covered up to this point has had 38 Terra options. This team has one. And I think
yep,
that
only
makes a
one.
huge difference.
Yep. And look, think talking about like threatening mons with Terra. The next team we're gonna talk about has a Terra Volcarona, which
Yeah.
is
So I think I'm going to put this one in that CD area for
Mhm.
now, and then I'm going to go eat lunch really quickly. So if you want to talk about this Dragapult Palafin Volcarona Terra team, go ahead. I'll be back in a little bit. Hopefully, probably
That's
by the
okay.
time we get on to the next couple of teams. All right, so if you want to talk about this one for a bit, go ahead.
All right. All right, so let's look at this Dragapult team, which is insane. I kind of really like this team. Dragapult plus Palafin, and then one of the only two persons to choose Volcarona. Sorry, one of the only two persons to choose a 30-point Terra Captain. There are only a few ones that are 30 points. In once Terra is added. But we generally only give the busted ones a high terror value like this one. So Volcarona with terror is immensely destructive. Um, the thought process behind this one is let hail rain, let hail rain rather. This mon is going to be the centerpiece of this guy's draft, of Lockray's draft. The Fontana Finions has a really good core of Dragapult, Corviknight. Really good offensive core of Dragapult, Palafin, and Volcarona. Then they have very good defensive options like Corviknight and Bellybolt, as well as Hariyama and Gligar. People sleep on Gligar, but it's a very good defensive mon. With Eviolite, this mon is bulkier than Gliscor. And then they have the last ditch webs as a 1 point mon. One thing I would say is Hariyama is very slept on, and I really like that mon. It can do so much. It can be a belly drum, citrus berry set, like with care amulet or stuff like that. It can be a disruptor with knockoff, drain punch, whirlwind because it does get whirlwind. Um, it gets headlong rush and earthquake as well. It has so many options. It gets two really fantastic abilities, and it leaves you guessing every single time. It can use thick pad and it can use guts, and you don't want to accidentally status this mon because you forgot it gets guts, which is a big thing, and which is one of the reasons why I think he did not draft a grounded poison type, which is my biggest issue. No grounded poison type on this team means that Dragapult, Palafin, and Volcarona are susceptible to becoming poisoned, right? As well as your only form of removal being Corviknight, which is easily taunted, or it can be it can sorry it can be no sorry, I was gonna say block, but I don't see any golden goals. I was just checking if you're in a golden goal. Oh yes, there is a golden goal. So it can be blocked from defogging. So I do think having Covenant as the only form of removal is very limiting. I like Crocodile. It's a man that has fallen from grace. Come this generation, it's the weakest generation by far, but I do think it has its redeeming factors. Moxie, Intimidate, very good ability combination. Getting access to like knockoff, Stone Edge, Earthquake, Edgequake is so hard to switch into, especially when this man runs like Scarf. Like nothing is gonna switch into Edgequake on Scarf Crew, especially with the fact that it can just knock off anything or it can crunch. Getting the Moxie boost is very good. Oh, but I do see water weakness, somewhat of a water weakness. I do see he has Dragapult and Palafin. but water kind of runs through his team. Volcarona, Corviknight, Crocodile, Bellybo, Hariyama, Gligar are very weak to, not weak, some are weak, some are neutral when hit with water. I don't see Leavanny coming much, so it's not going to be there to help with any real water types. And plus, most water types do have ice coverage, which is why I think any good water type into this team is very bad. Water types like Primarina, for example, or if a Vaporeon was chosen, would have been very hard for Looker to handle. Let me just check if Vaporeon was chosen. No, I do not see Vaporeon. Because Vaporeon just absorbs all the wave crashes. What is Palafin gonna do? Close combat? And then it just wishes up, right? I do think it is hard for him to handle any strong water type, um, namely Primarina. I do think Terran Volcano is going to help a lot. Terra Grass I see is going to be coming more often than people might think because the grass fire coverage is going to be insane, which helps it take care of those pesky poison types. Dragapult is also interesting on this build because looking at it at face value, you probably think it's always going to come physical, but then you look at Palafin and Hariyama and say, hey, this thing can even come with Dragon Darts and Shadow Ball at any given game. It could even be Spell Tag to boost the Shadow Ball or Hex sets. I do see bulky Dragapult. I think bulky Dragapult is probably better on this team. Dragapult with Hex, Will-O-Wisp, Thunder Wave looks very very good. Thunderwave support on this team looks like it's very needed since the next fastest mons are Volcarona and Palafin, which are at base 100 speed. So there is a huge speed gap between Dragapult and the other mons, which is very exploitable. Any mon that's base 116 or higher can just run an adamant or a modest nature to get as much damage as possible. I do see they are very slow, bulky options like Bellyboat. Bellyboat is such a nice mod. I probably do think Terra Bellyboat would have been nicer than Terra Crocodile. But the biggest issue I see with this team so far is water types. Um, yeah, water types is the biggest issue I see with this team. Any strong water type might just run through this team. Probably dragon types as well, because I'm not seeing any natural fairy type. So dragon types actually, dragon types with good coverage. Any dragon type that has thunderbolt coverage actually goes hard into this team. Or most dragons have fire type coverage, so that's not something that's hard to see. I actually kind of I like this one the more I look at it. But it does have its weaknesses, as I stated. It has toxic spikes. There's a big speed gap. Um, both sides as well. Because the lower end mons, there's no bridge between the lower end mons and the faster mons on the team, and its only removal being its only removal being Corviknight. Whew. Which cause was here so he could scroll for me so I could go to I am so cool, which is the next team I've given all my opinions on Lucre's team. Alright, so let's look at it some more as well. Does Gligar get T-Spike? Let me just double check. Gligar getting T-Spike. Gligar isn't actually that slow. I thought it was slower. Yeah, Gligar gets Toxic Spike. So he has every single hazard in the game. Spikes, Toxic Spike, Stealth Rock, and Sticky Web. I think Sticky Web is going to be very vital. I said Levan isn't gonna come much. I think Levan is actually gonna come more than I anticipated. Seeing that his fastest mons are base 100, base 100, and then base 142, I think we should see Levan make an appearance, and plus it gives it that well-needed water resist. I also love Hariyama.
Alright, I'm back.
Hariyama doing that.
Alright, I should be clear for the rest of the stream now.
Alright. Yeah, because I just brought down this team to its bare bones. So if you want to give your opinions on it.
Alright, so Urshifu single striker, Sonal Blood Moon. I don't like that Gyarados is the only Terra at all.
No. Lockery. We're at Lock. Oh,
We're at Lockery? That's right.
Yeah,
My bad. That's a really good team. The only thing I'm not 100% on board with is Terra Crocodile. I would have gone with Terra Belly Bolt. That thing's the goat. I think Crocodile doesn't need Terra.
I said the same thing. Another thing I talked about was the big speed gap between Dragapult and everything else, because after Palafin and Volcarona, after Dragapult, it's Palafin and Volcarona, so it's base 142 to base 100.
People don't realize that Palafin actually does get outsped. Like, the amount of times that Jet Punch is required to be clicked.
Yep, it kind of has to. So I was saying he probably doesn't bring Levi into much games, but he probably does have to. He has to get up those sticky webs. And then Corviknight being his only removal is bad because sticky webs and defog don't mix.
Yes. I think this
as
team,
well as
it's top heavy.
Mhm.
It's a top heavy team.
yeah, very top heavy.
Yeah, I would have liked
Yeah.
I would have liked Terra and Belly Bolt.
Yeah, I think Bellybot deserved it more, but I think Crocodile has to get turned nowadays because it has been crept so much. Like,
Yeah, we say that,
it-
but then if you like watch like PPL season 1 and you watch like Aim win with Crook, you can see how it just works.
yeah, but that's a skill thing.
It is a skill thing. But
I don't
like
think
knockoff,
people can use
it really only needs Intim, knockoff Stealth Rock, and it's doing and to hit Earthquake, and it's doing exactly
I
what it
think
needs to do.
I think Edgequake is the big thing because
Yeah.
if he gets hit by Edgequake and then he has just knockoff or anything else, which is very hard for people to switch into in the first place.
Yeah, so I'm not the biggest fan of Terra and Crook. I would have preferred it in the belly, but I do think the team is pretty good. It's just it doesn't mix well with the bottom. It's top heavy.
Mhm.
I think we did a lot of just space filler. Say it's an A tier team.
Yeah.
I just think you can't put a Dragapult, Palafin, Hero, Volcarona team any lower.
I can't think Terra Volcarona can go
Yeah.
any lower. Like,
Terra Volk is insane. Alright, so let's move on to
the Builders team. I am
Builders team.
so cool. That's the name of his team.
yes.
His representative.
I don't know.
This
this
looks
isn't
completely like a VGC team. I am
This is-
not going to lie to you.
yeah, this is the wrong format for this team. I'm being entirely
I
honest.
think they used to play VGC. I think there's one former VGC player we have.
So maybe Builder FLR.
Yeah, maybe it's
yeah.
Builder. But I'm not gonna lie. Some elements do mesh. Like Lando, Tyrion, and Latios are kind of so I would say they're not the best pair, but they work well together because they're breakers on special and physical set. The only issue with them is that huge ice weakness, and his team doesn't handle ice types very well.
Yeah, hold on. I want to view the team. My mouse just died while I was checking a DM, so I can't see the team at this very current moment.
He has Urshifu Single Strike, Ursaluna Blood Moon, Gyarados, Landorus Tyrion, Latios, Incineroar, Donphan, Low Kicks, Porygon 2. And his best
Alright.
ice type is Incineroar.
Yeah, and Incineroar is obviously it's like the illusion of a good mon.
Oh my god, he has a huge fighting weakness.
Yeah, Latios, Lati Lando
Look,
Gara.
Alright, so
But
Gara
then, yeah.
and Lando are nice because both of them have Intimidate. But then when you get a fighting type that learns Ice Punch and Thunder Punch against them,
Yep, this is a really good. Yeah, this is another team. It's definitely an interesting league because there are some really good teams with like the first two, and then there's like teams like, and obviously the Finions are good too. But then teams like the Iron Leaves and I Am So Cool. I don't know.
yeah, I'm not sure. This really looks like it wants to be a VGC team.
It looks like it wants to be a VG. I don't like Gyarados as the only Terra. Like again, I was talking about the 38-1. This is 38-19, but even being 38-19, this could
I
be
think
38-38.
I think Low Kicks is a better Terra Cap.
Low kicks is a fantastic Terra captain.
I would have teared low kicks and say I don't care about anything else. I'm bringing low kicks and pressing first impression every game. Just
Congratulations, you've beaten half the rosters. Like,
yeah, I'm just clicking buttons with low kicks. I think low kicks is such a threat. If it was Terra, if he brought Terra choice man low kicks, I think what his team needed is a wish passer and Terra low kicks.
all right.
If he, I think Vaporeon over Gyarados every single day, Terra low kicks, and his team would be way better than we're talking about right now because Vaporeon would give him that well-needed Ice type resist bar freeze, right? That is right. So Vaporeon plus Incineroar are a very good combo. He brings the low kicks and Landorus and Latios. That's a perfect six, I think, in my opinion. I don't really see what much breaks through that, and they are very good breakers in their own right. Plus, they could be defensive. His team seems wonky on the defensive side. Porygon 2 is his best Spidefmon. Ursaluna Blood Moon is decently Fizdef. Incineroar is the GOAT. Donphan is crazy Fizdef, right? And then Lando is mildly Fizdef, right? Intimidate, helping it out a bunch. But outside that, I'm not sure. Bolt Beam just looks insane here.
Yeah. I don't know. Like,
Yeah, and like honestly, any
Yeah.
fighting that has Bolt Beam coverage seems
good. I mean, it's obviously always something really strong, but this team seems extremely weak to it. I don't know. I think this is another one of those CD tier teams that I don't know.
yeah, probably maybe at the top of D, bottom of C, I'm thinking. But
Yeah.
I do think it has some very good elements that could work. It's just that the mons that support them aren't the best.
Yeah, so Toronto Iron Leaves, we said C/G. We said uh we said the Finneons are A. And we said this team is C/D, but we'll get to that later.
Mm. So now we have the Miami Dawn fans. They lost out their
They lost a lot of things, including Kyle A.
they have so we have plays plays only
Plays only optimal.
we need to fix that.
Oh, it's yeah. Why is it only? That must have been me. My bad. I'm the one who owns the stock. I'll edit it later.
So it's plays only optimal, right?
Mhm.
He drafted a nice team. I'm not gonna lie. Let's look at it. He has Bundle, Golden Go, Sneasler.
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
Glass. I do think Gorilla Boom hurts Gliscor a lot because Gliscor is only real ground type mon, or only real mon that has ground coverage basically, right? So more often than not he's probably have to Terra Sneasler to get any possible ground coverage, right?
I think it's okay.
If you look at it,
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Fire
looking at it. I see exactly what you're saying.
yeah,
I think it's
fire
fine.
fire types are better because of the terrain, in my personal opinion.
I think it's okay because you have Iron Bundle.
Yes, Iron Bundle fix. I don't know how Iron Bundle faces off into Gouge Fire though, but
You don't have to bring Rillaboom every week. If you really have a bad matchup against like a fire type, you can bring Gliscor Rillaboomless.
I probably think you should bring Colossus if you have a bad fire type matchup.
Plus, what you could even do is you could Terra Water Terra Blast or something, or if you know, like in the case of Gouging Fire, do something else.
I like Terra Water Glass Score.
Terra Water Gliscor is really cool. And what's really cool about this team is that if he does choose Terra Water, he gets that grassy terrain buff plus. Oh wait, Gliscor's flying above the ground, is it not? So does it have to worry about that earthquake decrease?
Yeah,
It's the opponent.
No, because the opponent is touching the terrain, it still gets decreased. So as long as a mon is touching the terrain, it'll affect them.
All right. So, yeah, if a mon's touching terrain, it'll be weaker. Gotcha. So, yeah, I mean, but if this mon, like for example, you take away that flying type, now suddenly you're getting that grassy terrain buff, and you're getting toxic heal, so it's never gonna die.
Yeah, I do like that. The longevity is there.
And even if it can't damage a gouging fire 1v1. It can toxic poison it.
Yeah, it can toxic solid. My biggest, like, outside of like the glide score being hurt by terrain, Colossal is their only form of removal. Admittedly, you do have a Hatterene that deters hazards, right?
Yeah, Hatterene deters hazards, and
But
you're scared. You're scared of hazards versus team because you lose the hazard 1v1. If this
you
guy
lose
sets up,
hazards.
if this guy sets
You-
up, yeah, you could set up rocks, but they could set up rocks and spikes.
Exactly.
And if you accidentally get rocks on your side with Hatterene, it's hard to clear them because of Golden Go. So I think this team is just so scary.
Yeah, I think they're very well equipped to play the hazard war.
Yeah.
They'll never lose the hazard wars.
This team is
It's-
bringing
yeah.
hazards versus team is scary because you'll most likely lose the hazard 1v1.
And then he has longevity with toxic he poison heal glide score and wish pass Umbreon. I talked about this in the previous division. Wish pass Umbreon is like slept on. It's really
It's
good.
so strong, and this team has so much bulk that Wish Pass Umbreon is gonna help a lot. And we haven't even talked about the fact that this guy is Terra Sneasler.
Yeah. Wait, give me a sec. We're still live, right?
Yeah, we're still
Okay.
alive.
Okay, good.
You know this. Let's see. Yep, we are still live.
Okay, yeah. So what I'm saying is, what we're saying is, Terra Sneasler is insanely good with the grassy terrain, grassy seed buffs. It doesn't have to be terrain though. With the option to run Terra Ground or Terra Flying, like to just an SD acro and nuke something. I think it's really good. He has decent speed tiers as well, although Dojo is included in his speed tiers. Which is a man I don't think is gonna be appearing often.
I don't think so either, but it's got some fun stuff, so you never know. It'll probably come 1 week.
Maybe it's well, no, that's a lie. You can't sacrifice points in the pool state. You can't sacrifice points because if
No.
you lose it,
At least
you're
not
gonna
now.
lose some.
At least
Yeah.
not now.
If you think you're guaranteed top 8 to make top cut, yeah, you can play simply, but like you have 3 circuits, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think you wanna use up all of your points. But I do think it's very interesting though. I really like his team. I don't think it's. I think it's probably the top of A.
I think, yeah. I'd say at minimum, it's top of A.
Yeah, minimum. I think it's the top of A for real.
I just don't know about a couple of the lower tier picks.
Yeah, that's it. I'm not sure. I do like the wish pass from Umbreon, and it gives him a dark type. So it gives him a well needed dark type for the second dark
Yeah,
resist,
fire
because
is also very spammable versus team.
yeah, he doesn't have the best. That's what I'm saying. Colossal might appear more often than we think.
Yeah, in which case that kind of weakens your really good core of that top 6.
Yep.
And Umbreon's kind of like, I think this team, yeah, this team might struggle to cover all options with how many mons it has that are good.
Yeah.
I
I think it forces him to Terra Water or Terra Fire more often than not because he
yeah.
needs the fire resist.
So I think we can go safely say this is like a top of A tier team.
Yeah.
Okay. So with that leaves us only one group left,
Yep. Cool.
which I will open in 2 seconds. Let me just write down that the Don fans are currently A. And we go official PDL Season 2 Pool D. Alright, so here we are. We open up with my team, the Brooklyn Cyclozars.
Yes. Funny
Yes.
enough, it's not rigged, guys. It's not
It's
rigged.
not rigged at all. I've never been first pick at a draft before, and I picked Roaring Moon first pick.
Yeah,
Because I didn't care. I saw Terra Roaring Moon, and I'm like, that's what I want.
Like looking at the options, Terra King Gambit, Terra Volcarona, Valiant, Dragapult, and he picked Roaring Moon turn 1.
I,
was like,
I saw Terra Roaring Moon, and I thought I could build something around it. I thought I could have some fun. I'm the only person to pick Terra Roaring Moon, which surprised me a little bit.
I think
but-
you're the only person that picked Roaring Moon.
I was the only person to pick Roaring Moon, period, which surprises me a lot. But, so I went Roaring Moon, and I kind of decided on my draft. It took me a minute. decide exactly what I wanted to do, but I decided I really wanted to support the Roaring Moon, so I grabbed Hisui and Samurott for spikes. I think helping that out offensively is really good. I needed something to help with that dark weakness. I went with Great Tusk just because it's a good defense, physically defensive, and I would get more later. And then I went Ogre Pawn Cornerstone. I did have a Fairy weakness. I cleaned that up with Rotom Heat. I originally had Moltres, but I wanted Rotom Heat. Like, this is the team, when I had crafted my team previously, this is the team I had made. This is the team I had wanted to get. And I got Rotom Heat sniped from me. And so I picked Moltres and Mesprit instead, but I convinced the person who drafted Rotom Heat to drop Rotom Heat. So I was able to get it. So this is the team I ended up getting. Obviously, I'm just kind of going to go over my team a little bit. I'm not going to be doing a team builder. There's a couple of things that you could look at with this team. Where's the special attack? It's Rotom Heat, and Lucario can be special. And you can't sleep on Florges or Uxie, especially after Calm Minds.
You're forgetting that Samurott Hisui has
Samurott Hisui also has really good special attack, yeah.
Base 100. People keep sleeping on that guy. Yeah. Decent moves too. Hydro Pump, Ice Beam, so forth, so on.
Yeah, no, I really do like that as a special option. Vulpix is my last overall pick. Obviously, this is not a true Sun team. I have two Mons that do really good in the Sun, being Roaring Moon and Great Tusk. And Vulpix is just a fun little option.
Rotom Heat does well.
Rotom Heat does well in Sun too, yeah. And I think Floor just has one Sun-based ability, but it's like a status prevention.
Synthesis.
It gets synthesis. Oh, so it heals more in the Sun. Yeah.
Yep.
So
I would run Common Synthesis in this Trailblaze in the Sun and this.
Yeah, that's honestly a fun set. So, like, I have the ability to use Sun if I want to, but obviously I don't have to bring Vulpix every week, because I just don't need it. My team is defensively sound on its own end, as well as offensively sound. Great Tusk is fine without Sun. Roaring Moon is plenty fine with Booster Energy without Sun, especially with addition from Spikes. I got Ogre Pawn Cornerstone because I wanted to complete that Fire, Water, Grass core, and it's just a really good offensive U-turn pivot with knockoff that supports the team. My team has 5 knockoff users, so beware boot spam. And I grabbed Uxie just because it's a really good defensive option. I really like this team. It has some apparent weaknesses that I think I cleaned up very well. It's very non-traditional. It's not like any other team, but I had fun with it.
I think your biggest weakness is fighting types.
Fighting types are something that can be a little bit worrying, but I'm not super worried. I have 2 bulky guys that kind of invalidate fighting types.
Even Roaring Terraflying, you still have Hisui and Samurott.
Yeah.
Tusk doesn't take fighting type moves well. Cornerstone doesn't like them.
Tusk is fine with fighting moves.
It depends. Which side is it being hit on?
Yeah, if it's especially defensive, then Floor just doesn't care.
Yeah,
so it depends on the matchup.
I do think Florges plus Uxie really do help you with your fighting type weaknesses.
Yes.
Especially Florges, because we know that almost every fighting type gets knockoff nowadays. So Uxie might be a bit more vulnerable to these fighting types. So having Florges who can just run max HP, max Fizdef, and doesn't even have to invest in any special bulk, taking every single special hit, and not losing to any physical fighting types as well is very good. Because you can just run, Wish Protect Pass?
Wish Protect Baton Pass. It's a really good 6-point mon. Like, yeah.
Just Wish Protect Baton Pass, and you have mons at Great Tusk who are at 50, or at 20%, now at 100, right?
Yeah.
So
keeping Great Tusk healthy is obviously big. I don't have a Grounded Poison, which is something that is definitely a concern, and I do only have 1 remover in Great Tusk, but I think that's okay, because Great Tusk running boots, it's fine, and also it's like spinners, ghost type spin blockers have to beware of knockoff.
You also have other very strong physical attacking options, so you don't have to rely on Great Tusk to break.
Exactly. Yes.
Who can break. Lucario can SD break as well. You have Hisui and Samurott with sharpness, ceaseless edge, aqua cutter. It can break as well.
Yeah.
So Cornerstone. So
I really like Terra Normal Extreme Speed Lucario. I won PDL Season 1 using a lot of that, so I wanted to run it back. I just think it's a really strong option.
I don't really I try to use new mons every single time.
I try to as well. This is my first league actually where I've ever reused a mon, and it's only Lucario. I picked up a team for half a season and I used Rotom Heat, but
I love Rotom.
Yeah, I love Rotom. So I wanted to at least get one run back with Lucario, just because, it won the first season. Let's do it again.
Let me check your speed. 119, 110. Great Toss is what, 87.
Yeah.
87. Summers is 85. Rodamid is 86. Georges is 75.
My team is a little
is-
fast. Trick Room is something that is potentially scary.
Yeah. Your Slowmon is basically Vulpix. That's the only reason.
I wish Uxie was slower. I said, and somebody said, I've never seen anybody said that. And I'm like, well, I wish it was.
But you can run anti-Trick Room with Uxie anyways, if
Yeah.
you fully expect it.
Yeah,
Which
no.
I do think is gonna be a hard read. But I kind of like your team. I really like your team. I really like the offensive pressure it puts.
I think it's very versatile too. I think not enough.
Mm.
I think it's more versatile than people will realize.
Yeah, I also think some mons will be slept on. As I said, special Samurott, like you could just pull up with Spec Samurott one time,
Yep.
and people, oh my god, I did not put for that.
And suddenly your all physical wall team is lost to my Spec Samurott. And
Exactly.
yeah.
So I think it's a very interesting build.
I just decided, you know what? I've got 3 Japs. Let's do at least one that's a little fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I opened up with it. And personally, I think this team is going to be really fun to use.
Yeah, I think the first draft is gonna be very like experimental, fun type. So
Yes.
let's see who is gonna be on top of the overall leaderboard at the end of.
So where do we want to put my team?
I'm not sure.
I think A tier is safe.
Yeah, I do believe it's somewhere in A tier, but I'm not sure if it's at the top of A tier or in the middle of A tier.
I mean, we can arrange who goes where, like once we actually get to that part of the list. So
Let's drop it in A tier.
yeah. So we have next up we have Nature's Warriors with Nature
Mhm.
Costs. I wrote this is some of the teams that I've wrote up a little bit of stuff on. So I do have some stuff to say about these specific teams. I wrote up stuff on mine, but like I think I know what my
He
team's
has
about.
double unburden.
He has double
Yes.
unburden, so he opened up with double unburden and then drafted no terrain user. And that's why I was like, dude, pick up Weezing, drop Rotom Heat. And they were like, yeah, that's a good point.
He's the one you talked out of Rotom Heat.
Yeah, he had Rotom Heat over Weezing Galar, and I'm like, dude, Weezing.
I'm surprised he dropped it Scyther too. I'm not sure about that because he looks very ice sweet now.
Yeah,
In my opinion.
Scyther was not exactly something that I was the biggest fan of. I just got, no, it also has literally no electric or fire resist without Terra.
Mm-hmm.
Does it,
Because neutral versus hit by electric neutrally. Yeah, Bolt Beam looks really good here.
Bolt
I don't
Beam
see
looks
any
really
water
good.
types.
This team has practically no hazards. Only Stealth Rock on King Gambit and T-Spike on Sneasler, that's it for the entire team.
And Sneasler ain't clicking T-Spikes, guys.
Yeah, Sneasler's not clicking T-Spikes. Terra King Gambit is obviously one of the strongest mons in the format, and I think that this team actually works well around it. We talked about Sneasler and Hitmonlee working well with Terrain from Weezing.
Thunders enables it as well, because Thunders can paralyze stuff and allow King Gambit to even outspeed, and it doesn't have to rely on
That's the one
as
thing
much.
though, is that mons that are in the Misty Terrain can't get parried, so you do have to be worried about that. However, King Gambit can't be burned in Misty Terrain, which I think is
Yeah,
actually
it's
pretty
like-
big, because that's
but
one of the
that's
biggest ways of shutting down King Gambit.
But I'm saying that's if he brings Weezing, because
Yeah.
he can bring Weezing plus King Gambit a lot, but he could also bring Terra Fire Gambit because he has no fire types, and
He
what
could also
are his
just
fire-
bring like levitating gas or levitate or neutralizing gas Weezing, like both work.
But what are his fire resist? He probably has to Terra Fire King Gambit a lot, often.
Yeah,
'Cause he has-
that worries me. Like that's
the
definitely
fire.
something that could be weak with the team.
Yeah, he loses to fires like crazily.
Too strong
don't
grounded
see-
poison, so you don't have to worry about poison T-spikes.
You don't have to worry about T spikes per se or any real poison types. I like his fire type being Weezing. It helps him a lot with physical attackers, especially if he doesn't Terra the Hooper, which is very very weak to these physical attacks. He has Weezing that can always come in and take one.
Yeah, the other
Um,
thing that Misty Terrain concerns me is that you have 3 mons that are flying types,
Yep.
not named Weezing, which means that Weezing just doesn't support those guys.
Yep.
Which sucks.
And he doesn't really have the hazards to pull off like a contrary Articuno. As I would like if he had like a Sticky Webmon, Contrary Articuno would look really,
Yeah,
really good.
competitive Articuno's fun.
Competitive, not Contrary.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah. What's it called again? Does Articuno get Trick Room? I know Hoopa
I
Unbound gets it.
don't know if it does.
I know Hoopa Unbound gets
Hoopa
it.
Unbound definitely gets it. I don't think Articuno does.
I love
I
this
could be
guy's
wrong.
team in Trick Room. Trick Room King Gambit. with
Trick Room King
transfer-
Gambit is fun. Yeah.
Like,
I mean, this team is. I don't know about this team in Trick Room. What else besides King Gambit?
because this team is very fast, it's probably just King Gambit and Hoopa alone that
Yeah.
take advantage.
And Hisui and Zoro work, I don't know. I feel like this team has so much where it's like King Gambit has Supreme Overlord and Sneasler and Hitmonlee are both unburdened that I don't know how well Zoro work disguises itself. Like, I feel like
Yeah,
Weezing 2, like you have 1, 2, 3, 4 Mons that will pretty much instantly get themselves away.
yeah. Because if Weezing comes in, well, you'd probably just assume it's Levitating. Guess what?
I don't think
If-
Levitate's ever coming on Weezing. You have 3 flying types.
Exactly. So I'm just always gonna click Earthquake. Like
Mhm.
Hisui and Zoroark doesn't really help much.
I don't
apart
think
from-
yeah, besides starting a strong special attacker, which this team doesn't really have outside of
He
him.
has Hoopa.
He has
And
Hoopa.
Thundurus has higher special attack than Zoroark.
Oh, does it? Okay. Well, then there's that. So I
Yeah,
don't know.
I think
I definitely think this team doesn't fit together entirely well, but I don't think it's a bad team
I
nonetheless.
don't think it's bad.
I think it's a B tier team.
Because he has 2 removers, Hitmonlee and Weezing.
Wait, he has 2?
Yeah, Hitmonlee gets Rapid Spin.
Oh, it does. I didn't realize that.
I'm just not sure of the Scyther pickup.
Yeah. I think this is a B
I would
tier
talk
team.
about Scyther and probably Articuno Galar. Those are the 2
Yes.
ones that I talk about.
I don't know about that. So there's a couple of months that don't fit, but this team's strengths are obviously there.
Yeah.
Unburdened, Sweeping, and King Gambit. Like, it's just like, this team's going to be
Offensive-
overwhelming if you don't have the right stuff for it.
The offensive pressure of King Gambit, Sneasler, and Hoopa Unbound.
Yeah.
Let us see how well he navigates his team. But
Yes.
I do probably top of B tier.
B tier is definitely where I think this team goes. Alright, so the next team I have some stuff written on is the Toronto Great Tusks. This is by Kenneth, who is someone I have now played in the Draft League 3 or 4 times. I'm pretty... but, I mean, this is the other Rain team.
Yep. And it looks really good.
This is a good Rain team.
I actually quite like it.
I
Right?
love this team. This is a
People say,
really
"Oh,
good
Bob
team.
Scalaburn, Rain." I'm like, so?
That's a Palafin, buddy.
And I'm like, he has Palafin and Float. The thing is, what is gonna switch into Baxcalibur, Palafin, and Floatzel?
Yeah, I know. And then it's like, okay, well then you just run Fistef Mons. Well, there's an Archaludon. And there's an
And
Iron
you have
Crown.
Iron Crown.
Like, Specs Iron Crown is really strong. Yeah. And you're talking about, don't
it's just
sleep on Choice Specs Surf Palafin. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Like,
Palafin has 106 special attack.
yeah, like, it's surprisingly good.
Like, it gets Ice Beam, Grass Knot, Boom Burst, Surf. It gets special moves, guys.
Yeah.
Like, I've used it and I've run Throat Spray already. I didn't run Specs. I ran Throat Spray, Boom
That's a
Burst.
fun one, too.
And what could switch in because everything was Fizz Def. Nothing expected Throat Spray, Boom Burst.
This
And
team
I still
is-
had Jet Pods in the back.
And, you know, we've talked about, like, weird value picks at low tier. We're like, I don't know about this low tier. I don't know about this low tier. Let me tell you, I know about this Muck.
Muck
That's
is-
a
Muck
good,
is-
that's a good low tier value pick.
Like, if you look at his defensive mons, Sinister, Clefable, and Muck, very balanced out. Sinister's
Archaludon. Archaludon's good defensively too. Yeah.
Yeah, it could, even without running defensive investment, Archaludon is just eating hits.
Yeah.
That one is living stuff. But, like, I really do enjoy the Sinistra on his team. Sinistra moves from a mon that is fire neutral to a mon that resists fire types in rain.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, it's like
That's
hypothetically fire weak, but then it's not. That's the crazy part about it.
A grass type that resists fire types.
Is nuts.
It's crazy, right? So
Yeah.
so I'm literally in this team. I'm like, okay, nothing switches into Baxcalibur, Palafin, or Floatzel. What happens if he just brings Specs Archaludon and drops a Draco?
Yeah, or like the random E-shot in rain. That's like, yeah.
or Calm Mind Sinistra, because guess what? Everything is physically defensive. So if Sinistra calm minds up,
Exactly,
what is
yeah.
going to stop spamming Shadow Ball?
No, that's what I was saying.
Right?
It's like this like hypothetically, you could say, okay, physically attacking mons, but here's the thing: like your two best defensive mons, like Clefable and Sinistra, could flip and become Combine Sweepers.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, this is a very good team, and like people have been talking about Bax being a fraud in draft. You know why? Because it can't Terra. But
Yeah,
this
I
guy's
know
Bax
that.
can Terra, so
He's able to Terra.
yeah.
So can you imagine Baxter's pulling up and just sitting there and like, which Terra would I like to choose? Let me just choose Poison this game, you know. And one thing I've noticed, I've like tried to pioneer is AV Bax.
AV Bax is interesting. I have not seen that, but that could be cool. The
Yeah,
other thing,
I've been
people don't
trying to
expect.
pioneer AV Bax.
People are probably
And
people who haven't faced Bax are gonna forget this. It doesn't need to Terra Fire to be immune to Will-O-Wisp.
exactly.
Like
Like
it's
I
raw
think,
immune.
I think Bax just running like max attack, max HP with AV, coming in and tearing to attack that's not weak to rocks. It destroys teams. It could be just Terra straight up get the
Yeah.
fighting type coverage.
Hell, like Terra Dragon Glaive Rush is gonna nuke half these teams. Like
Yep.
it's just like no, this team is honestly so much more to worry about than you think. And I think this is probably another example of an S tier Rain team.
Mm-hmm.
I think Rain is
It seems that
extremely
Rain
yeah.
is coming out on top. I think we're gonna have to check out on nerfing Rain.
Yeah, Rain we might have accidentally left to be a little too strong in
Yeah, I made the mistake of leaving floats without terror attacks. So you get
Floatzel needs a Terra task. A Terra tax.
definitely like every Rain team has floats. Like both the Rain teams have floats. So
And both the Rain teams are S tiers. So
exactly. Yeah. So
maybe we made a mistake. Luckily, I think this division has
Wait,
multiple. This division
only-
loves their weather control though, because I have
Yeah.
sun, and we're looking at the next team. We've got the Typhlosions here. They have sand, or they sorry, they have snow.
hail.
Snow. They have hail. Yeah.
No. One thing I would say about this team is its lack of removal, hazard removal. That's the only
Oh,
thing.
the Rain team. Yeah. Lack
Yeah,
of
that's
hazard
the only
removal. I think you're fine.
I think that's it. Like he just comes out and dish out damage.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't think hazards. I think setting up hazards is a bad idea versus this team because whoever's setting up hazards
like,
is taking minimum 60%.
Excalibur gets at +2.
Yeah, by the time you set up hazards, you're swept. By the time you set up hazards, you've taken 80%. Like, I just think it's always a bad trade.
Yep. So this is definitely a hyper offensive team.
Yeah, hyper offensive Rain team, but you know what? Let it
Yep.
rock. Let it
I
rock.
do-
And you
I
have
think
Clefable can run Magic Guard for auto boots. So
as I'm saying, like a lot of these mons can just run boots. As I said, Bucks can even be semi bulky as well and just
Right.
have boots and have heavy hitting moves like Glaive Rush and Icicle Crash. and
Clefable can
Turbo.
just run Magic Guard, so it doesn't need to run boots and then run lefties and stuff.
and Crown's immune to T spikes, resist rocks, right? Same with
And
Archer.
yup, you know this team at first don't sleep on Muck. Muck will set up the T spikes against your team, and he will absorb the T spikes for that team.
And guess what? You can't spin because Sinister is coming in, baby.
Yeah, I know. And Muck with
Sinister just-
knockoff Sinistra's coming in. Like this team, every single mon on this team has value, and that's big.
I really enjoy this team.
I
think
really
team
enjoy
is
this
good.
team. Yeah. So we go into the Typhlosions here. This is the
By
final team I
Abring.
did by Abring. This is the final team I did some write-ups on. I like this team
Urshifu single strike.
with Terra and plenty of things to support it. You've got Aurora Veil Ninetails. You've got Glamora for that toxic
You have
spikes.
Sticky Webs, Galvantula.
Yeah, Webb's Galvantula is really good for Urshifu, whose speed tier doesn't peak 97. It's also good for that Typhlosion. Quaquavel we've talked about already. This is a time where
think
Quaquavel
he's
doesn't need
gonna
to run
always-
Rapid Spin.
Yeah, I think he's gonna always be running Webs too, because his fastest mon is base 106, so Webs are very vital to him. And then guess what? He has that ghost type mon.
Yeah, that was the
Right.
one other problem I saw with the Great Tusks. I wrote that about both these teams, is they both lack immediate speed.
Mm-hmm.
They both need something to set up the speed first.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, this team is quite so is my biggest issue with it. And he doesn't really have a trick room on either because our believer in trick room would go insane.
Yeah, I said that that was the one other thing, is that in terms of Fire, Water, Grass core for this team, our Believe is a bit of a weak grass.
Yeah. I do like the fact that he picked up another water type. I'm not sure if I agree with Quakeoval. Was Blastoise taken at this point?
Blastoise, I don't even know if it is taken. Nobody is.
I
Oh
don't.
no, Blastoise was taken fifth overall, or not fifth overall, but
Oh
taken
yeah,
as a fifth pick. So it was already
yeah, yeah,
taken
yeah.
by then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it was already taken by. Okay, so it makes sense because I was like Blastoise kind of fits better here.
I don't think Quavel fits poorly at all.
No, I'm not saying it fits poorly, but I was saying like, because of his flying type, I'm gonna talk about it later. He's quite weak to flying types, right? Even though he has Glimmer and Corviknight, any flying type with good coverage, snowballs.
I could agree with that. Did I say anything about that when I talked about this team? Um, yeah, I said okay. It also only has Quavels is only knockoff user on this team, by the way.
Oh yes, that
So
is
only
true.
only one knock user, lacks a bit of immediate speed,
Yeah,
stuff like that.
Flygon get dance rolling, do anything.
Really strong really strong Fairy Dragon Steel though.
Yeah, I like his Virgil and Steel for it.
Yeah. Terra
Especially
Flygon, we haven't talked about yet. Terra Flygon, I really like.
yeah. If you're gonna look at Alova Loremon, this is probably one of the best ones beside Lucario that you picked up.
Mm,
Terra Flygon is insanely good,
yeah.
especially with just being able to just run Terra Electric. He gets that next flying resist, no weaknesses,
No
and
weaknesses is big.
he just DDs up, right?
Yeah.
This looks like a lead hazard, and then I'ma just chip you away with my hitters, and then Urshifu just wins end game. Scarf Urshifu comes every single game and just terrors and just wins in the end because getting the hazards up, right?
Yep.
You can't chip the hazards. He chips you down with like Flygon or Quaker Ball or even Typhlosion. And even the Ninetales, because the Ninetales is pretty good. Loki, don't sleep on Ninetales, guys.
No, definitely don't sleep on Ninetales.
Yeah. It can be cheeky with freeze dry blizzard sets, or it could even be hypnosis sets because it gets the buff in hail or snow rather. So watch out for that. I do think though he has very good removal options as well. Three of them: Glim, Corv, and
Yes,
Quaker.
Glimcorv, Clavel are all really good removal options. That's something I did write down for this team. I was saying, we've talked about how this team's the previous team was very light on hazard removal by having none. This team is very heavy on it. I think this team's hazard control is really good. I think this team's speed control is really good. I think this team has really good offensive potential. It just needs a bit to get going. And I think if the opponent plays correctly, you can shut down. You can prevent them from getting going. So that's my opinion. So what do we say for this team? Is this like low A, high B? Maybe A? I could go A for this team, I think. Alright, so we'll go A for now.
Sorry about that.
Oh,
I think it's probably high B.
high B.
Probably even making it into the A tier, honestly.
Alright, I'll put B
Because
slash
of
A. Yeah, I'll put B
yeah.
slash A and we'll decide on that later. Depending on what we think depending on what teams we think it's more like. Let's go to the Menacers next, by
Yep.
Ace.
Ace.
Um,
Good for now.
So, fun fact, the first draft league I ever did, my first 3 picks were in order Dragapult and Amorous Iron Treads, and obviously it's not quite the same order, but as we could see, Ace has got that. And his Enamorous Cantera, which is a little different than mine.
This is going to be insane. And like I like his team. It has wonky speed tiers because it's 142 150, 142, 106, 106, 105, 100. It's kind of wonky, right? Because he doesn't have anything between that like 110 to 135 range.
Mm. And it's also
But
doesn't have too many
yeah.
slow mons.
Yeah, it doesn't really have any slow mons because this one is base 70, so it's kind of too fast for Trick Room. Blastoise is 79, I believe. Overcool is 85. So looking at that, I first thing I've noticed like If you notice, the Iron Threads teams all have a Blastoise for some reason.
They all love that double spin.
Yep, get that double spinning, man. So I like his removal, like probably the best removal in the entire pool so far, right? I don't see anything that can come close because both of them can knock off, so ghost types aren't really a problem. And I'm
Yeah,
not seeing many teams with ghost type spin blockers.
I know I don't have one.
Oh,
Um,
actually, every team except for yours have one.
yes,
So I
Sinister, Zoroark, and Typhlosion.
mhm. Yeah. So I do like Overquill because you take advantage of those ghost types with Overquill, right? You can have lead hazards Overquill. You can have scary Swift Swim Overquill to counter the rain team, right?
Yeah.
You can have SD Gongshot Quillfish Overquill as well. And he has such good abilities, right? Swift Swim, Poison Point, and Intimidate, if I'm not wrong. Uh,
Yeah, I would most. Swift Swim's obviously something that I have to worry about. Oh, no, not I have to worry about. That's something Kenneth has to worry about. But,
yeah.
here's the thing that I do say with this team is you have Electro Hisui without Terra.
Mhm.
Nah. You have Decidueye. I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of Decidueye. I like Mienshao a lot, actually, as a low tier value pick. I think the thing's underrated. Knock and regen is fun.
Yeah. Looking at his team, he's kind of flying weak.
Ah, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Very
flying
flying
weak.
weak.
His only real resist is threads.
Yeah, the treads, and we'll get more on why that's not good later. Um,
Fly and ground as well. I'm not lying. I'm not gonna lie. Ground looks
yeah, this team definitely has a
because
couple of type weaknesses.
yeah so ground for Overquill, Enter, Electrode, Dreads. So he only has Enamorous and Decidueye, right? Um,
Yeah,
I can switch in on ground types, which aren't bad. Decidueye actually isn't that bad of a mon defensive wise, but you don't want Enamorous coming in on any possible anything that can chip it realistically. Because Enamorous is one of those mons who it likes its HP.
yes, it does. Um, so I think this team ties together solidly, and Terra Entei is obviously always going to be good, just in
Yeah,
case
first hand
somehow
E.
someone gets out of hand with speed.
Yep,
Terra normal E speed's always going to wrap it up.
that's one thing I like. He has the hazards and he can run turn normal E speed because you could just bring Quillfish, set up a spike, right, or set up rocks with threads, and have Decidueye spin block and pivot into the Entei.
Yep, that thing's gonna be really strong. I mean, I don't have the spin block option necessarily, but I do have spikes into Terra Normal Lucario myself. Interesting that this is the only division to do the Terra Normal E-Speed shenanigans. Which there is one premier Terra Normal E-Speeder who is 30 points who we have not seen get drafted yet.
Not yet, probably Circuit 2. I'm actually eyeing it for Circuit 2. I'm just
I don't have
waiting to
plans
see.
for it now, but I have plans for at least 3 of the Terra Captains that I want over the next 2 circuits, and then I have to come up with a 4th.
Yeah, I do think I am going to have it at one point. But
All
it
3 of my
depends.
Terra Captains that I want, I haven't seen anyone pick yet. Fun facts. And I'm kind of
That actually
surprised.
means they'll probably be high on the pecking order next time around.
Yeah, I know.
Interesting.
It's interesting. I'm like, why has nobody picked these? Because I feel like these are pretty good Terra Captains, in my opinion.
There are a lot of ones there that I was like, interesting.
Yeah.
And yeah, so let's rank Ace. I think he's probably A, in A, bottom A, because
Bottom right.
yeah, his team comes together very well, and it has very good elements. He just has those two big glaring issues which we talked about, which was the ground and flying.
I can agree with that. I can agree with that. So a little bit of type weaknesses, but it can be covered. It can
Yep.
be covered. And now the final team left on the list, the Dallas Drapions.
Led by Hydrogen. What a name! What a name!
Hydrogen is
Pulse
crazy
is
work. Yeah, the obligatory Chien-Pao team.
Yep. Chien-Po Terralandorus incarnate, right?
Welcome to
He-
Ubers.
Terra Salamence, right? This is insane.
Same. And the one thing
And
that I had a problem with Landorus, I had Landorus and Rabambi too. Mine couldn't Terra, mine didn't have Sheer Force. His has none of those problems.
Whoa, this is going to be interesting. He has good removal too with Tentacruel. Is a grounded poison removal. What something that we love, right?
Yup.
He has a very good steel type. His steel dragon fairy core is iffy because he doesn't have the strongest fairy types like Diancie and Ribombi are okay, but I do
Again, don't sleep on that DNC.
yeah I love his steel and dragon. Like Salamence and Heat Run are such a good combo,
That's a really good
right?
combination. And don't sleep on the aloe. The double water flip is like slightly suspect until you realize that's not exactly a problem.
Yeah, because
Like
he lives like regions of everything.
it reaches
Tenta
off
is here to
everything.
hit the special hits,
Yeah,
and
aloe will take the
you
fizz.
yeah, and you wish up Landorus and pivot it in on the potential ground type move that they're gonna predict the Tentacruel,
Yeah,
and
and
then
you have
Landorus
Palisand for that too. You have Palisand for that
yeah,
too. Don't forget.
and then he has Lando that hits everything special, and he has Chain Power that just cleans. Like between Lando and Mence, my god, man, she's gonna be breaking teams to their core and then have Chain Power come up and clean up everything in the back. You'll see a choice scarf, not choice scarf, a focus sash or a heavy duty boots Chain Power like 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah,
Because that's all he needs. He just brings it in and then SD is up.
we talked about snowballing.
Yeah, yeah.
Salamence and Jianpao. Snowball
Exactly.
machines.
Salamence with Terra giving it really good flying stab. Physical flying stab is insane. Just
Yeah.
run DD, flying move, and whatever coverages you need.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it still got roost.
If what Mence gets roost, I don't think it does.
Yeah, it still get. Wait,
It
that's not.
it doesn't. Oh, I was about to say, really?
Uh, I'm in that guess. I always do this. Yeah, it still gets roost.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's
So,
annoying.
so I will tell you, like Salamence is going to be slept on. It literally DD roost. All right, and
Luckily, this is the one team I don't have to face.
oh, you don't have him on your
I
roster.
don't have to. No, of the 4 teams I have to face, he's the one I don't.
That's so crazy. That means you're gonna probably face him at some point because you have to. Well, it's you almost have to play everybody.
Yeah, that's fine. I won't have to deal with this team. Maybe I will in playoffs or something. We'll see.
Yeah, it's gonna be very, very, very interesting. And with that, where did we? No, we didn't place them yet. I do think this is probably at the highest of A, or I think it's at A, edging S tier, but not the
I
other
don't think
tier.
it's quite S tier. It doesn't have any of that really crazy stuff that you see. But I think this team, we might sleep on that Sheer Force Lando. So I think this team is definitely the high end of A. So with that, I'm just going to get the rest of the logos really quickly here because I didn't get all of them. So I'm going to need to go to Coach Info. Okay,
Dark
so
horses. For this pool, who's gonna be my dark horse? Um, not sure. I wanna say nature, cause is probably a dark horse.
I definitely think that people are going to sleep on Nature at least a little bit. But
Yeah.
I do believe that they are a beatable team.
I do think yeah, I think I'm gonna say this is a dark horse team because people might look at its composition and be like, oh, that's weird. Why would you run that and that together, Rete? But I do think he can put in work with it.
Okay, this is that team. I think hopefully all the teams have been submitted in coach info.
I do think every single logo has been so far.
Okay, that's good then.
Mhm.
That team I got. That team I need to get. This plays only optimal.
Oh, I wish everyone was here because I could have let it. So funny enough, guys, who are still watching, the teams that you draft here, whenever you make playoffs, these are the same teams you're gonna be using. You're not gonna be, so remember, playoff is 3 phases, right?
Yes.
You have the round of 16. No, sorry. You have the quarters, semis, and finals because it's top 8, right? So what's gonna happen is for each round, you're gonna declare which team you want. You declare it privately to a mod, and then it's gonna be posted, so we're gonna know which teams each person is gonna use, so you can prep properly. So out of all of the teams you draft, you can only use them once in playoff, and so just hope you get a good matchup, right? It gives that edge off, so element of surprise. So you wouldn't want to use your best team early. You wouldn't want to, but you might want to save your worst team, or so forth and so on. But yeah, let's see.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interested to see which team I use when in playoffs. Okay, I think I'm going to have... I think I'm almost done here with having all the logos. Okay, so I hope this is all 24. We're about to find out. Okay, so 1, 2. I just have to be careful here because one of them is going to be... Okay, no, you know what? I know which one's which. Okay, the Menacers. GGT logo. Seattle. Screenshot. Oh, come on. Can my music stop pausing? Alright. Alright. This one. Alright. And this. Okay. This is like... Okay, these are the two. I found the two. Okay.
Alright.
The two PR ones are the two ones I have to avoid. Because those are the... That was the two I don't want. That's the PN... Whatchamacallit? That's the stream cover. Ugh, I still have to remember. Okay. Mask.png, so that's that image. We have a bunch of image guys here. Image 3 is mine. And then image 4. Okay. Now, after all those, we get this. Alright, hopefully this is all 24. If not, I will make sure we get those submitted in. Heat image.png, that should be the Miami team Heat. Okay. This one. Okay. Only a couple more here. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 logos. We got them all.
Nice.
Alright, so we have it set. So Palafins are B tiers. The Palafins. Here we go. So we'll order them in a minute. I'm just gonna put them all in their tiers and then we'll do the ordering.
Yeah.
And then we'll work on tiers from there. Hurts to see. Hurts to see that. Oh, shoot, I forgot to... Oh, that's this one. Put that there for now.
I don't think we had any D tier teams, which is pretty good.
Yeah, I think this is either C or D. We'll like see in a minute. I'm gonna leave this here for now, but we might move that up. It's C2 is, I believe, this team. Shell Smashers, okay.
Oh, we did. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, these are like the two C/D tier teams. If I said C/D, I'm gonna currently put them in D, and then maybe we'll move them up. Is what I'll do.
I think those are the teams that had the most glaring weaknesses.
Don Vance. Okay, this is what we have so far. So I'm willing to talk about moving any of these guys up. We also have to do our ordering. So I'm not really going to close this page because I don't want to risk everything resetting on me. So what do we see here? Alright, so firstly, let's just talk about... Let's order. Let's do the ordering.
Mm. Let's just pull it in there, but you have notes on. Let's look at the best S tier team.
Yeah, so we have the Heat. The Victini Heat is going to be our first team here. I believe it's a Pool B team.
Yeah. It's Pool B and Pool B, C, and D started the S tier.
Yeah.
Who was the first one again?
First one's Victini Heat.
Victini Heat was the first team we got.
That is... Okay.
Okay,
That's
yeah,
the first rain team.
Bundle, yeah. Then who came? Okay, the Joyapol team came behind. I think my team is probably last in S tier.
Okay, we can do that. How do the extra points for future drafts work again? Is it just one extra point if a mon gets 10 kills, or are there other ways too? I believe it's 2 extra points for all the buffs. You can, Kingston, you want to elaborate on that?
So you can only get a maximum of 2 extra points. So for every mon that gets 10 or more kills, you get 1 point. But for every circuit, you can only get 2. So technically, you can only get, I think, there are 4 matches and there are 6 months per match. So there are 24 kills across the entire circuit. So you can only make 2 months get 10 or more kills.
Are there any
right?
Are there any other ways to get extra points?
You can only get extra points from achieving 10 or more kills. We were going to put more points into it, but we didn't want the teams that were consistently getting first, second, and third place to be like getting a lot of points and making it impossible to catch up, if you get what I'm saying.
So there you go. That'll answer Becca's question. All right. So the Heat is so we have the 2 rain teams. Are these 2 teams? Do we think either of them is better?
Wait, the second rain team was in which pool again?
Pool D.
Okay, so the Pool A team had backs over bundle.
Yeah.
I'm not sure because I'm thinking the Victini Heat is actually better because even though we said removal isn't a problem for the Toronto Great Tusk, I do think their lack of removal might affect them.
Okay.
At some point, yeah.
And do we think the Dragapult Valiant team is better than either of the rain teams?
So the Dragapult Valiant team and the Pool C we had a
No, the Drag Val is still the Pool B. It's the same.
Yeah,
pool as the Heat.
I'm looking at the other people who got into S tier. Who got S tier?
The other person is the Pool C, the first team.
Okay, so is the Triple Dragapult, is the Dragapult Threads Valiant team better than the Junkrat team? Is
What's that team again? That's annoying. Pool C. Oh, that's that team. That GM Pow Great Tuskai Drapple Iron Moth
Yeah,
team.
I'm thinking about it. It's pretty hard. I think it's very split down the middle. I'm not sure on
Mm.
that one. They look pretty even to me.
Ah, dang. This is where it gets hard.
Yeah, they look very even to me
They look
in terms of
really even to me. Honestly, I think those could go either way. I'm just gonna do a slight lean. So we're gonna say that the two rain teams are the best.
yeah.
I think I'm gonna give a slight lean to the GM Pow team. I just slightly like that
Okay.
one better. So this, you say, is that a good S tier?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
that is S tier is now ordered. See if yeah. All right. Then A tier. A tier's got a lot of teams.
yeah. It is stacked.
Yeah, which
Um,
makes sense.
look at the first A-tier team I think was Suki's team, the Black
Yeah,
Tauruses,
Black Taurus was the first team. Do we?
which we were like it's really good, but they only lack a removal. I think that was the biggest issue we had with it.
Yeah, we
The
definitely.
next team was the Moonlit Lucy, the Wigs.
We said that's the better of those two, I believe, or did we change that our answer there?
I think we said it's if we're talking about pure offense, they're way better.
Yeah,
But when it comes
defensively.
to like if the team is balanced out like defensively and offensively, Suki's team is it would be considered better.
So I think we'll go with Suki above them. All right, next
Yeah,
is the Chanseys. That's the Sand team. Is that still in Pool A? The
yeah,
Latios
it's,
Sand team.
I think it's not as good as those two teams.
Okay, so then we'll keep that there. Next, we go to Pool B. We have starting with the Fontana Finion. Oh, you know what? No, that's not Pool B. Let's see. Any Pool B teams? No.
We didn't have any
There
cool people.
be. I'm checking. Okay, nope. They're one below. The Heat is S. The Raging Bolts are low. And no. Okay, Pool B. No Pool B. So it's straight up. It's straight to Pool C.
Mhm.
So Pool C, we have the first team I see is the.
Finians. Yeah.
It is the
Fenton.
Finions. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So what
Is
do we
this
think about the Finions here?
the Sun team? Is the question.
So the Fontana Finions, yeah, this is the Dragapult Palafin Volcarona team. I feel like
I
it's better
think
than the Sand.
I think it's better than the Sun team as well.
Yeah, we were just worried about their low tier mons. Do we think this is better than what is this? The Wigs is
We just looked at. Was it the Wigs?
the Wigs is currently the team we have in second.
Oh, the Wigs was
The Wigs is Lucy's team. That's
the
the
very
that's the
offensive
bun.
team.
Yeah, that's the
Darkrai.
super offensive.
Yeah. I'm not sure if this team can beat them easily.
So you think that
It would be
this?
hard
I'm
because they
fine with
do have
keeping this team
Serena
low.
as well.
They do
And I
have
think
Zarina.
yeah, and I think Serena is very hard for the
I think
Finions
so.
to-
Yeah, I think Zarina's probably a little bit better than some of the low tiers on the Finions team.
Yeah.
All right,
So
so
yeah.
the Finions will take third. Then we have the Don fans, which I believe is the same league. Yeah, Don fans. That is the Bundle Golden Go Rillaboom Sneasler team. So this is basically it's a matchup of the two terrain teams. Which one do we think is better? I think this one's more well-rounded.
Which one was the other terrain team again?
The Wigs, which is currently ahead of the Finions. That was the Pincurchin version.
Oh, okay, yes.
I think this team is more well-rounded defensively.
Yes, I also agree.
I think this is the best
only
team in
issue
A
we were
tier
talking
currently.
about was this spinning. I also do. I think I agree with you on that one.
Alright, so this team
Probably the best
is
team
currently
of
the
the
best team in A tier. Alright, then it's my team, which is the Roaring Moon team.
What's a cool D?
Yeah.
I think they're better than Sun team immediately.
Okay. Sand team
What was the
is
other team
here.
again?
So then the next team above me is Fontana, which is
Palafin.
that's the Palafin Dragapult team. I think
Honestly,
my team's more well-rounded. Is it better though?
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. Your team is definitely more balanced. However, if we were looking at them head to head, I do think like
Well,
Palafin is
we're not talking
and
head to
Summer.
head here, really. We're talking about who's better overall, because that's kind of
Yeah.
what this is.
So when I'm comparing the picks, I'm like, personally, Terra Roaring Moon is better than Port, because Roaring Moon can Terra,
Yeah,
right? But Palafin is better than the Samurott, right? What were their spin up? What were their removals?
it's Corviknight only, I think.
Yes, and they had Terra Volcarona.
Yeah, my team's definitely more rounded. Does it beat their top three? I don't
This one,
necessarily know.
yeah, this one will be a tough one.
This is a tough one.
I'll probably give you the slight edge. I'll probably give
Okay.
you the slight edge.
And
Because
then it's me versus Lucy's team. Do we think I beat Lucy?
the Darkrai Madness Pinkerton
Yeah,
team.
I don't know if I beat that. I think that's where
That
that's the
team
end of
is
my run. That's where my
that
run
team
ends.
crazy. She just stacked up with all the threats in the game.
Yeah, I think my team is probably still slightly more rounded, but I think her pure offense eventually beats mine. So
Yeah.
let's next up. We have the Menacers.
Which pool was that? Again?
That's Pool D. That's that Dragapult Treads Terra Enam team.
Oh yes, I think they'll probably stay at the top of where were they?
They're currently
A?
A. That's where I have them.
Sorry.
Yeah, the
What
question is
number
how
are
far
they?
up do we think we go? Because I currently just have them at like towards the bottom, but how far up do we think they go?
Bring them above the Sun team.
Okay, so minimum here.
Yeah. What was the team again?
So now it's
The
them versus me is what the
No man, you have the Palafin team as well.
yeah,
Before yours.
the Palafin team. Oh, right, that's the Finneon team. Right, this is the Sand team. So that's where they are. Yeah.
Yeah, put them above the Palafin team as well, and I think that's where they would
Belong.
end.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then finally is the Drapions, which is that Chien Pao, Rabombi, Lando I team. I think that one. I think that's the best team in this tier.
I think it's tied.
Tied.
Second best. Yeah.
So, okay.
But you can put it at the top for now.
And well, let's see. Tied second best. What did we say? It's the other team. That's the Pool B. What team
The
is
other
that?
team we had at top was
Oh, the Dragapult Valiant. No, wait,
Yeah.
no, that's
no,
they're
no,
lower. Yeah, it's a Pool C team, I think. Is it the Pool C team? Yeah, it's a Pool C team. Oh, that's that bundle. That's the Terrain team. Yeah, okay. I could say this is fair.
Yeah. The bundle golden gold team.
Yeah, okay, this is fair then. I think this is good order. Okay, now we go to the B tier. So you open up with the Donphans, or sorry, the Palafins.
Which pool is that?
That's Pool A. So we have a bunch of guys in Pool A to open up here.
Oh,
So
the Palafin. Okay, with the Chenpao, Skarm. Okay. What are the other teams?
so next we got the Blastoise.
I think Palafins are still better than the Blastoise.
Okay, then we have the next league, which is then we have Pool B, where we do the Masks, which is the Spectrier Sneasler team.
Spectre Sneeze. Let's see. Deoxys speed. Our biggest issue with the Chenpao Deoxys speed was Quakerfall being the most reliant on
Yeah, the Rapid Spin was like our major issue with that team. Our major issues with I think we had some issues with this team too.
Yeah, this team has no removal except for
Cinccino.
I think it's better.
Do you think this is better? Okay, so then this is currently the top of B.
No, I don't think Maui Mask are better. I think
Oh, you think the Palafins are better?
yes.
Are they better than the Blastoise, you think? Which is the other B tier team from the previous, which I forget what we just said that was. I'm a little...
Yeah,
Jeez.
I do think they're the Blaziken team.
Oh, yeah, I can say they're better than the
I do
Blaziken
think
team.
Maui is better than Blaziken. Yeah.
Okay. Still Pool B, I believe. Yep, next is the Galactic Glacia. That's Terra Landorus team. Terra Landorus Sun.
Oh yes, we were talking about Oh yes, Bolt Beam. I think
Right.
we were talking about Bolt Beam here.
Yeah, we talked about both team here. We talked about a couple of different things. Corviknight gets melted by its own fires.
Yes. It's weak to
Yeah.
its own weather.
Grounded poisons and stuff.
No poison type. Or probably the bottom of B for now.
Okay, so they stay there. By the way, I think we said this was like the best one, but we'll get to that. And then it's back to Pool D. So Pool D, it's Nature's Warriors, which was that Sneasler Wheezing team that you said was sneaky good. Or not sure about it.
Oh,
That's the one with like the problems were like the Zora work and the Scyther.
yeah,
And the
the
Glardakuno.
Scyther and probably
Art-
Sokuno Tikuno.
Yeah,
I don't think they're better than the team we just saw though.
they're not better than this team, or like
No, I think I think they're a very dark horse. But I'm gonna underestimate them for now. I'm gonna say they're not as good as other team.
okay,
They're
and
they're soft.
yeah, and then the Dallas Drapions, or not the Drapions, sorry, the Typhlosions is that Urshifu team we said was like top of B.
Yeah,
They're
I
actually-
do
yeah.
think this is probably still top of it.
Okay, so then that makes sense. So then the C tier teams currently are the Punk Rock, which is the Urshifu Single Strike. That was that one Kyurem team. The Glow King Kyurem.
Yeah.
We talked about
Oh
earlier.
yes. The Gloking Turum. This team is kind of growing on me a little bit. It's just the Terra captains are so bad.
Terra Captains are definitely not good, and this team has a couple of type weaknesses I think we brought up, because a lot of the mons overlap, is what we had said.
Yeah.
And then, so it's between that and the Magnazones, which I think is Pool B.
It
Yeah,
should be
that's
cool.
the Ogrepon Hearthflame Latios team.
Yeah.
These two teams are very similar. I think the Magnazones
Yeah,
are worse,
yes.
though.
That would overlap. I think. Which one you said? I think the Magnazones are.
I think the Magnazones are worse.
Yeah, same. I'm of the same opinion.
Okay, so then the last things we have to talk about are, do we want to move up any of the D tier teams? So we have, that's the Raging Bolts, which is also
What?
Pool B.
Mm-hmm.
That's that Heatran, Hisui, and Gudra Terra team for the Terra Iron Moth.
I'm not sure, but I don't think this one is moving up on.
Okay, we have, so then it's up to Pool C, where I think we had a pair that we said were on the brink. So you have the Iron Leaves, which is the Gouging Fire Deoxys D team with the Terra Ogrepon corner.
Okay. Yeah. I think they should be up in
C,
higher C tier. Yeah.
but bottom of it.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I Am So Cool.
I think they're better than the Raging Bolts.
Do they go up a tier though?
No.
No. Okay. So then this would be the final tier list. We're happy with this?
Yeah.
All right. So there you go, guys. This is ordered. These are the official power rankings for Circuit 1 of PDL Season 2. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream. I'm going to... What is it? I can download this.
Yeah.
Download image. Okay, I'm going to post this in the Discord then. Perfect. This right here is going to be...
Alex, you're still here. You don't get an extra point towards your draft. You get an extra. So how it works is, for each circuit you gain points, and we tally the points to create a leaderboard. Just like how you would have a regular leaderboard with the person with the most skills and so forth. Not most skills. Person with the most wins versus loss are at the top of the leaderboard. We're doing a points-based system, so you can gain points to get at top of the leaderboard, right? So if, for instance, you became fourth in circuit 1 and you came first in circuit 2 and 3, you're gonna have a total of 7 points, and with those 7 points you're able to gain bonus points to add to those. And let's say the cutoff for playoffs is 8 points. If you get 2 bonus points, you're gonna have 9 points, meaning you're gonna end up getting into playoffs over other people. That's how the points, extra points work.
Alrighty. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming to the stream. I'm gonna start doing all my uploads relatively soon. Hope you guys enjoyed the power rankings. Kingston, you got anything you want to say to the stream before we head out?
Man, just peace. Have a wonderful rest of your day, guys, or night.
Awesome. All right. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. Hope you guys enjoyed, and let the season begin.